Part 53. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 522. Chapter 522, Hishiu and Hua 04. They both had a great time this evening. Even the next day, both of them had smiles on their faces. Should I give my boyfriend a kiss when I go out? After breaking up the relationship, Xiao seemed like a different person. Becoming more and more shameless. Begging for a kiss is blatant. No, tell me how many times I've kissed you this morning. Hua Zy said no, but she still kissed her. The atmosphere between the two of them can be seen by anyone with a discerning eye, as dog food is everywhere on the floor. Back to school. Hua found out that her friend was not there, and thought about where she went with her yesterday. Forget it, let's call again later. Put away the phone, and the day's study began. The same thing happened here in Hishiu, because people in their class discovered that the person who had never smiled all year round was smiling from the moment he entered the classroom today. Even when the teacher came, I didn't see him stop. Several people who wanted to mature couldn't help but walked up to him after class and asked, "Hey, why are you smiling so much today?" A classmate didn't know how to describe him. Sexy. Another classmate opened his mouth and said. Hishiu was not angry when he heard what they said, because of my fiancé he shared his happiness with them. It's a good way to stimulate those single people. Oh, no. Suddenly, the people surrounding Hishiu shouted. You actually have a fiancé? Of course they heard about what happened yesterday. Almost everyone in the class knows about such a big incident about my fiancé. But now, hearing the person involved admit it personally, they still can't accept it. Why are you so confused? Several fun-loving classmates immediately started booing. My girlfriend can accept it, but my fiancé is too early, isn't it? Not too early, it was decided 5 years ago. Good news should be shared with everyone. Soon, the incident about Hishiu's fiancé spread in the school. People said that his fiancée was in their school and she was a beauty. In order not to make Hua too busy, Hishiu did not cause any trouble to her. However, everyone is not stupid. Everyone can see who is the closest person to him, so the flowers are blown out. With Zhang Xiang by her side, she is not afraid of anyone making trouble for her. Besides, she is not easy to bully. Even so, there is still him. The worst case scenario is to return home. The progress of the two of them is very fast. It only took 3 days from hugging and kissing each other to sleeping together in the same bed. The person who raised this matter was of course Hishiu. Of course, they did not break through the last line of defense. Xiao is very firm on this point. There are some things that can be done and some things that cannot be done. He waited for her to eventually become his bride. Life in school is very simple and happy. Originally, Xiao planned to spend 2 or 3 years here to study and return to China, so that he could help relieve some of his father's burden. Now it seems that dad is still young and can carry on for a few more years. Hians didn't know Xiao's thoughts, otherwise he would have gone to country M to capture him personally. There is no place to fall in love. School may not be the best place. Perhaps because he has a girlfriend, the male has slowly begun to fall off the altar. Especially when he was with Hua, he lost all of his usual aloofness in school, and instead became a little clingy. This gives Hua's friend Zhang Xiang a big headache. She really doesn't want such a man as a gift. Take care of your men, if you keep doing this, you will lose a friend like me. She really couldn't stand it. Today was her birthday, so she just invited her friends to come out and get together. This gathering is something special, not just the usual followers. They are all people with almost equal status. Zhang Xiang is always upright and has made many friends from various countries. The gathering today was also to celebrate her turning 20. She really didn't want to grow up. I feel good. Hua didn't think there was anything wrong with Hishiu. They often did this at home and she was used to it. Then can you consider my feelings? She really wanted to hit someone. He was just returning from pouring warm water for his girlfriend when he saw Zhang Xiang waving his teeth and claws in front of his girlfriend. Without saying a word, he stepped forward and lifted the person away. Zhang Xiang was so offended that he shouted, "He, let me go quickly." It was embarrassing to be carried like this. Zhang Xiang's other friends are used to seeing this scene. Knowing that you are no match for He, you often provoke him on weekdays. That's right. After Zhang Xiang was raped and slipped away, He put a cup of warm water into Hua's hand. "Here, drink something hot. Today is the first day, and your stomach will hurt. I don't know if I didn't pay attention to it when I was a child, but I feel uncomfortable all over during menstruation." Originally, he didn't plan to let her go out today, but for Zhang Xiang's sake, she insisted on coming out, and he couldn't do anything to her. "I'm fine, I'll be fine in a while." It's strange to say that as long as the first day is over, you will be like a normal person after that. It was not so obvious when I was a child, especially after the two of them lived together. This situation became more and more serious. "That's a matter of time, be good, and obey me now." He couldn't see any other expression on her face. Zhang Xiang rolled her eyes at the two of them. It's so inhuman to the opposite sex. "Why did I make such a girl?" Zhang Xiang complained to her friend. These friends of hers are not just from school, some of them are out of society. People like this are all somewhat related to the Zheng family. I'm sorry, you still call people out even though you know that they are so virtuous. Aren't you asking for trouble?" A friend couldn't bear to see it and sneered. This man is also from Xiongguo, but he is not a student and has already joined the society. Because of the Zheng family, the two have known each other since they were young. No, he often comes to Country M for company matters and comes to see this little sister from time to time. Who would have thought that she has made so many friends here? So everyone recognized each other. "Long Lao don't go too far, be careful, and I'll tell Aunt Long to go." Aunt Yu is Long Lao mother and loves Zhang Xiang very much. Coupled with the close proximity of the two families, Zhang Xiang often visited the Long family when she was a child. The Long family are people who engage in grey business. They control 1/5 of the territory of Hong Kong. Even if Long is not the heir, everyone in Siang Kingdom will give him 3 points. "Huh, you think you're going to complain because you're still young?" Long Lao rolled his eyes. "This girl hasn't changed in more than 10 years. If it weren't for..." He didn't want to pay attention to her. "I'm younger than you anyway, a full 6 years younger." Zhang Xiang is a big boy. "Just stick the needle wherever it hurts. Please give me a vote. Please don't stop voting, including recommending and monthly voting. You must also start tipping and subscribing." End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 523. Chapter 523, He Shiu and Hua 05. "Humph, I'm too lazy to pay attention to you." Long didn't want to pay attention to this person anymore, and directly picked up the wine glass and started drinking with everyone. After having fun, some people began to talk about their recent situation. There are both men and women. Because of Zhang Xiang, the relationship between everyone is very good. No, Long recently got some news and came directly to He Shiu. "Let me ask you something." He didn't regard himself as an outsider at all. Of course, they are also familiar with each other. "Our friendship is not too deep, but our friendship is not too shallow." He was discussing with Hua whether to have some midnight snacks at night, but was interrupted by Long He eyes were full of disgust. "Say it." The tone was very bad. Long didn't care either. "I heard that your family has business dealings with Uncle Hua's family." Long was also a matter of habit. He would check every man who appeared next to Zhang Xiang. The Hua family is now becoming more and more famous in Siang Kingdom, and their wealth has slowly reached from the middle to the upper class. It can be said that he is now the upstart of the entire Xiang kingdom. Coupled with the relationship between the Zheng family, everyone gradually became familiar with each other. No, when he went back to investigate, he found out the He family. It's just that he didn't expect that the He family would have such a large network of connections in the mainland. Basically 1/3 of the older generation's founders are with the He family. In addition, the He family is indeed capable, and the things they produce are very enviable. Hearing this, He Xiu's aura changed. What do you want to ask? It wasn't that he was careful, but he had to be on guard. He didn't want his family to hide back in his hometown like that year. It doesn't matter if he is wronged, but he can't bring trouble to his parents. Seeing him like this, Long Er was shocked. Don't be nervous about that, I don't mean anything else, I just... He was really embarrassed to say some words. Plus there is a flower on the side. When Shiwa arrived, she patted Xiao's hand and said, don't be nervous, you have to get used to it. He will check everyone who comes around Xiang, and he checked me too. She was not stupid, she could tell that Long Er was interested in Xiang. The fragrance is extraordinary. Hearing this, He Xiu took a serious look at Long Er. Well, he is not as good looking as himself. Haha, you can't blame me. I didn't know you at that time, let alone whether you were the lady from the Hua family. Long Er didn't think there was anything wrong with what he did. He was protecting her, but the silly girl didn't know it. Even if you know, you will check it out. My brother said, you are not easy to get along with. Hua rolled his eyes at him. When he heard about his uncle, Xiao laughed, your brother is right, this man is still young, but fortunately he is still a gentleman. Long Er also had his own aura, but it was different from him. Same. Hearing their comments, Long Er became angry. I really appreciate you. Whatever it is about being petty and hard to get along with, he's okay with it. It's just that they don't know. Okay, let's get down to business. Uncle Hua, because your cosmetics are at a higher level in Xiangguo, do you have any idea of cooperating with our Long family? He can't protect his family, he prefers to develop. The outside world is so beautiful, I'm tired of staying in Xiangguo. You shouldn't ask me about this, I'm still a child now. Speaking of shamelessness, Xiao is not afraid of anyone. He was trained by his family since he was a child. Long Er twitched, who is not a child, yes, he was angry because he was older than them. Seeing him like this, Hua laughed rudely, at least you are not a child now, but we are. Well, these two are more cruel than the other. He Xiu really didn't know Long Er's identity, so he couldn't promise him anything about cooperation. What do you want to cooperate with me for? He Xiu is not young anymore, and he doesn't mind if he can help his family. Besides, with the strength of the Hua family and the Zheng family, the Long family is definitely not bad. Hua was confused about this. Although she didn't like these things, she still knew what she saw and heard. The Long family wanted to cooperate with Uncle He, which really puzzled her. Medicinal diet. Unexpectedly, Long Er's answer surprised both of them. Xiao was even more speechless. Of course he knew about the medicinal diet, and his parents also told him on the phone. More aware of the reason for prescribing this medicated diet. Then you have the wrong person. You should go to my mother about this. She owns the store. He didn't know much about it himself and couldn't cooperate. I did think about it, but I didn't meet you this time. The effect of medicated food is not what it seems on the surface. I think if the He family can gain a foothold in Kyoto, they might as well get rid of these things. Long Er thought to himself. However, it's almost the same. The relationship between the He family and senior officials is really based on this. Of course, Mr. Shi and Mr. Zhao are similar, but they have a deeper relationship after getting along for a long time. Had it not been for the fact that the food in Hejiakan could improve the situation of the two old men, they would not have met each other. It's just that there are some things that Xiao doesn't know. Then you are making things difficult for me. I opened the store after I went abroad, and I don't know anything about the situation. What he said was true. Of course, Long Er also knew, it doesn't matter, it's not important, I just want to get in touch with your mother through you. He didn't hide it, and directly stated his purpose. He Xiu had a better impression of him. He likes such straightforward people. That's no problem, but wait until tomorrow. I have to call and ask when I get back tonight. Mom loves money, and of course he will not let go of the opportunity to make money. Then thank you. If you come to Siang country in the future, come to me if you need anything. I, Long Er, can still say a few words in Siang country. Long Er said with a proud look on his face. He Xiu rolled his eyes at him. I don't like asking for help. Humph, would he be afraid of others? Long Er was speechless. Why didn't he let him pretend to be cool? This man was very bad. Long Er didn't delay them for too long. He left after talking about the matter. Just go to the school to find him tomorrow. Out of the way. But he also had to tell his family, forget about the usual medicated diet. This he family's medicated diet is obviously different. It can cure many diseases and nourish the body. This is a treasure. The wine gradually got high, and he Xiu also drank a lot because of the flowers. I don't know who said what before, but everyone was a little high after getting drunk. Today, Xiao didn't use his inner strength to force the drink out. He still thought that his girlfriend would take more care of him after he was drunk. Then it's settled, we will open an entertainment company in the future, haha, by then the beauties and gods will be ours. A group of men and women started to boo. Xiao really doesn't understand these businesses, but he also knows that the entertainment industry is quite developed now, and TV movies and so on are at their peak. It's possible to get it? Well, Lu Li and Peng Huan, one of you loves beauty and the other loves male idols, let's leave this matter to you. It just so happens that you are seniors and don't have to stay in school every day, so, a few people started to make arrangements. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 524. Chapter 524, He Xiu and Hua 06, Joint Chapter. This is no problem. Lu Li and Peng Huan agreed in unison. I just happened to pass my thesis, and I'm just waiting to come back in August to get my diploma. Now I have some free time. Peng Huan loves the male idol. This is known to the whole school. As long as any man is good looking, she will comment on him. Even He Xiu was criticized by her countless times. Later, when she found out that he was a friend of a good friend, she banished him from her mind. Lu Li is even simpler. I'm just thinking about what to do after graduation, but I can't get involved in my family's business. The Lu family is an immigrant from Long. His family is in the gem business, but there are too many children and grandchildren in the family. He is not interested in that aspect, so his family is slowly giving up on him. Of course, he is still the young master of the Lu family, the kind who gets dividends. There is no one in this room with a simple family background. This is mine, a total of 5 million, here it is. He Xiu was even simpler. I don't care, you can arrange the shares. A little drunk, Xiao leaned on Hua and said. I'm poor, I only have 2 million, here it is. Hua also took out a share. The rest of the people started paying. In the end, Long Er and Zhang Xiang produced the most. The entertainment company also chose Country M, and this became the headquarters of these people. Things have finally been settled, and everyone has chosen a very cool name, Universe Entertainment. It's really a big deal. Do you still want to launch your company into the universe? After the matter was settled, Lu Li and Peng Huan took everyone's money and returned to the hotel. Anyway, others didn't know it, but the two of them knew it. With so many bank cards in their hands, They almost went crazy with fright, thinking they had been robbed. Fortunately, he didn't forget things after drinking. After remembering, the two immediately called each other. Made an appointment. As soon as they met, the two immediately laughed bitterly and said, "I've been cheated again." Yes, they felt that they had been cheated. It is not easy to manage a company, especially when you have nothing. It is really about conquering the country. Calculate the shares first. Lu Li had a headache. Peng Huan was not much better. The next day, Long Er was always thinking about the medicinal diet, so he slept until noon and got up. As soon as I woke up, I called Zheng Xiang and asked her how she was yesterday. Then I asked He Xiu again. However, after learning that she was not up yet and in the hotel, Long Er went to call his father. In the Long family, the head of the Long family rarely has time to spend with his wife. He is always too busy to see anyone on weekdays. I need him to take care of me outside again. It's been a while since I had a good rest at home. As soon as the phone rang, Mrs. Long ran over and picked up the phone. There is no other way. The only ones who can call the home phone are my two sons. Other people will not call home if they have something to ask for. Hey, is the Yuan? At this point, only the second child was left, the eldest only went out in the morning. As soon as the call came through, Long Yuan, also known as Long Lao Er, had a deeper smile on his face and said, "Mom, it's me. How are you doing recently?" His biggest idea for starting a medicinal diet business is to take good care of his mother's body. The Long family was not short of money and hired many doctors to take care of their mother. However, her health could not be cured and it remained like that. It is difficult to run around like a normal person. This is also the fault of Father Long. Of course, it is also a mistake that all men make. It's just that Father Long was caught by his pregnant wife when he made a mistake, which caused his wife to give birth prematurely, and he himself also suffered from the disease. Until now I have been unable to receive any stimulation. For this, Father Long also regretted it very much. It's true that he loves to play, but he also loves his wife. Since then, her wife has become farther and farther away from him. Since the birth of their second child, the two have never been together again. Even so, Mrs. Long's position is very stable. She is not relying on her children, but Father Long does not allow anyone to hurt his wife, not even his parents. However, in the end, the person who hurt her the most was himself. Sometimes he regrets it. But, he can't change it. I can only compensate her in other ways, but she doesn't seem to care about anything. Her biggest wish now is to see her son get married and start a business, and then give her a grandson. Decades have passed like this, and her heart has become calmer and calmer towards her husband. Actually, sometimes she is very open-minded. As long as there are no seeds left outside or those women have not been brought back, she pretends that she does not know. So the days passed peacefully. Mom is in good health, and she plans to go to the flower room to arrange flowers soon. She is good at passing her time. Hearing the cheerfulness in his mother's voice, Long Er also laughed. "You can't stay too long, you have to go out and walk around, otherwise your eyes will feel uncomfortable." "I know, Mom knows, be careful when you are out there and don't get tired." The mother and son chatted happily there. Father Long, who was being quilted on the side, was not happy. "You little brat is not busy with business every day," he complained, hoping to get his wife's attention. Of course Long Er heard his father's voice, but it wasn't important. "I'm not tired, I'm fine, but it's you, Mom. You must take care of yourself at home." He was very worried about this mother. Especially when his dad is still at home. "Don't worry, your mother is very strong in her heart. Okay, if you have nothing to do, just hang up. When you come back in a few days, my mother will prepare delicious food for you." Mother of Dragons happily asked. No, his dad happened to be at home, and he didn't bother to call his mobile phone. Please let Dad answer the phone. I have something to do with him. Hearing what her son said, Mother Long glanced at Father Long, who was sitting beside her, and almost put her ear to the phone. She never brought the problems between them to the children, no matter how they were, he was still the father of the children. Seeing his wife hand the phone to him, Father Long exclaimed happily, "Daughter-in-law. Shut up, your son asked you to answer the phone. I didn't want to listen to him." As soon as Father Long answered the phone, Mother Long left the living room and went to the flower room behind the back villa. "What's the matter? I was disliked by my wife again." "It's this kid. Why call me back?" The tone was very unpleasant. "Dad, do you still remember what I told you about the medicinal diet from the mainland last time? He mainly did it because of this, otherwise he wouldn't want to talk to him more, and he would curse people every day." Upon hearing this, Father Long's face became serious. "But is it useful for your mother?" What he was most worried about was his wife. If it hadn't been for him, whatever was wrong, and he tried his best to make up for it. "It's useful, it's very useful. It's not only useful for Mom, I'm also thinking about it." Balabala said a lot, and Father Long became a little impatient. He now despises things that are good for the business and the family. The eldest son is in charge of the company, and he just wants to make up for the mistakes he made back then. It is better to look back too late than never to look back. What he was worried about was whether the medicinal diet was really useful for his wife, and he did not hesitate to use all means to obtain it. "I don't care about this. Since it is useful to your mother, then you should get it done as soon as possible," Father Long said sternly. Long understands his father's thoughts, but this is not something you can do just because you want to. "I want you to take Mom to the mainland and ask MRSE to take a look at it. This matter is not a secret. Medicinal food is not something you can just take if you want. Prescribe the right medicine. You have to tell your mother about this. She won't listen to what I say." Father Long looked lonely. "Of course I know. When I finish talking here, I will return to China, and then we will take my mother there together." After thinking about it, Long sighed. "I don't know if this knot can be solved in this life." With his father in front of him, he and his eldest brother paid great attention to their emotions. "I told his dad about this mainly because I wanted him to have some peace with his mother at home. His mother has given up on this disease. Her only wish now is to see him get married and start a family with her eldest brother. You should talk to your mother in the next few days," Long said. Father Long was anxious. "Why don't you say it yourself? Think of him as stupid." "You are used to noisy, then I will." Before he could finish speaking, his father hung up the phone. Long couldn't laugh or cry. Looking at the time, he realized he was hungry. After lunch, he called Hishiu. Xiao was teasing his girlfriend there at this time. "Since I had no time to pay attention to that annoying phone call, I turned off the phone directly." Long was stunned. The other side. Xiao turned off the phone and looked at the person lying next to him, which was called an obsession. Last night, they did everything they had to do, except, of course, they didn't take the last step. On this aspect, Xiao still respects her very much. If she can't help it, he doesn't mind giving himself to her. Watching the expression on her face change while she was sleeping, Xiao looked at her seriously as if he had discovered a new world. Perhaps the gaze is too eye-catching, even the sleeping flower feels comfortable. Who likes to be stared at all the time, but is not an object of appreciation? Hua woke up out of vigilance, and when she opened her eyes, she saw an enlarged face. "Ah!" Hua was startled and screamed. Xiao is very helpless. This girlfriend is good at everything, she just likes to scream when she sees him. "Good morning." Xiao stood up and said a little away from her. At this time, Hua realized, okay, even if the two of them live together, she is still not used to having multiple people around her. Hua reacted with embarrassment on her face and said, "Good morning." Her face was a little red and she hid under the quilt. "When will you get used to me, huh?" Xiao was helpless. He really didn't want to be woken up by a scream every morning. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do it. I've been sleeping alone since I was a child, and I'm not used to it seeing him like this." Hua immediately coaxed him up. "It's just what you say, but after so long, when will you get used to it?" When Xiao got up from the bed, he put on a pair of boxer briefs and his figure was clearly visible. Hua's face was so red that she was almost bleeding. "Why are you not wearing pajamas?" she muttered. "He Xiu has such a good ear." Of course he heard her words. "When facing you, I prefer to wear nothing." He was speaking from his heart. He would be happier if he could have an in-depth communication. "You bastard, you have a beautiful idea." How could she not know what he was thinking? "But we can't let her take the initiative, right? I don't know if you are beautiful or not, but I know that you are beautiful and very attractive." He showed off his alluring figure in front of the bed seriously. Of course, what he wanted more in his heart was to seduce the woman in front of him. Unfortunately, she had already been shy and hid under the quilt. "Okay, I won't tease you anymore. Get up quickly. Let's go out to eat something later. We drank a bit too much last night." He was fine, but he was worried that her stomach would be empty. "I vomited a lot yesterday." "I know. Go away quickly," Hua yelled while hiding in the quilt. Xiao stopped teasing him and went directly to the bathroom. After tidying himself up, he picked up his cell phone and turned it on. As soon as the phone is turned on, the call comes in. After seeing the person shown above, Xiao curled up his lips. This man is really impatient. "Hello." He Xiu answered the phone and said hello. "Hello, He Xiu, I'm Long Er." It was very formal, and the call was finally connected. Hearing this tone, Xiao knew that he must have made up his mind. "Well, good morning, I know who you are." Xiao answered the phone and walked to the kitchen. He still has to make breakfast for the people in bed. Haha. Suddenly, Long Er became embarrassed. "Okay, let's get down to business." Xiao didn't intend to tease him anymore, and he had to give Zheng Xiang some face. "Cheng, listen to you." Unknowingly, Xiao became the leader. "I don't know what you think about the medicinal diet. I want to represent the He family's medicinal diet for the entire Xiang kingdom." Long Er's ambition is still very high. Favors are favors, and business is business. Of course, with favors, there will be more business. You'd better go to Kyoto for this matter, because I don't know the specifics. It's still about medicine. You'd better go and see for yourself. My mother said that this aspect is very demanding." He really listened to him on this matter. "Mom mentioned it. I listened to you, but I don't know your mother or the others. How about you help me breathe?" His information shows that not everyone in the He family can see him. It's not that there's nothing you can do about it, it's just annoying. He is seeking money, not to offend others. You can have this, but you'd better contact my dad first. It's true that the mother is the one who makes the decision at home, but it's better for the father to talk about external matters. He's afraid of tiring his mother. "Well, how about you tell your uncle and I'll call him later," Long Er said happily. He recognized He Xiu as his brother. "Well, I'll hit him in a minute." He hit him right after eating. "Wait for a while, now, how about now?" Long Er was anxious. Okay. Xiao was not too pretentious. After hanging up the phone from Long Er, he called his father directly. As soon as the phone call came through, Xiao directly talked about Long Er's matter. After listening, Hians was speechless. "You kid, you couldn't even go to school. You don't know how hard your mother worked every day to open a branch. Why are you so unfilial?" If it weren't for this kid's incompetence, he could have taken his wife out for a long time. Now I have the nerve to call and talk about the agency. End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 525. Chapter 525, Hishiu and Hua 07. Dad, can you be more reasonable? Why am I being unfilial? You know, his dad is always looking for opportunities for him to take over. Humph, in the past, he might have taken over, but now, his father is young. Fortunately, Hyans didn't know Xiao's thoughts, otherwise he would definitely let this boy know what it means to have father as heaven. Huh, if you are filial when you are young, you will come back early to take over. Your mother also wants to take your wife on a trip, alas, it is useless for a son. Xiao Yufang, what else can he say? I know, Dad, I will finish my studies and come back early, be good, and you will get sweets. That's pretty much it? Okay, let your friend call me later and I'll make arrangements for him. It just so happened that the herbal medicine shop also had to develop. In the future, Xiaopeng will also have someone to take over. Medicated diet is indeed a meal, but the most important things in it are medicine and medical skills. Xiaopeng is much better than Xiao and Xiaocheng in these two aspects. Thank you, Dad. He is a cool and handsome guy outside, but he is at home. This is performed very well by the three sons of the He family. Hang up, I will go to your mother's restaurant for dinner later. He would not say that he was deliberately showing off. Hearing this, Xiao became jealous. Now he knows why his father was so jealous in the first place. After hanging up the phone with his father, Shia called Long Er with an unhappy look on his face. The breath in his tone made Long Er sour through the phone. Don't worry, I will help you eat when I get back. After hearing what Shia said, Long Er smiled so hard that he yawned. Xiao hung up the phone without saying a word. This friend is gone. Long Er sorted out his emotions and dialed Uncle He's number. As soon as the phone call came through, Long Er stood up from the sofa unconsciously. Just like meeting in person, I looked nervous. He was nervous for two reasons. One was for his mother, whom he should do no matter how respectful he was. Second, the He family is not necessarily afraid of the Long family. The status of their two families is obviously that the Long family is stronger. Not necessarily in private. After all, a Siang country still cannot compare with a powerful country, not to mention that now the Siang country is no longer a Siang country and has become an administrative region. Hello, Uncle He. As soon as the call came through, Long Er immediately opened his mouth and shouted. Who is he? Ans? He knows what is happening on the other side as soon as he hears a voice. Don't be nervous, you and Xiao are friends, relax. He is a good and polite boy. Yes, Uncle He. Long Er took a deep breath and exhaled, finally feeling a little more relaxed. Long Er didn't know that he relaxed just because of the other person's words. If it were placed on the battlefield. If you want to be a medicinal food agent in Xiongguo, it's not impossible, but you have to come and take a look, because these things were made by Xiao's mother, and many things are not as simple as they seem. Hyans is still very talkative. As an elder, he will do what an elder should do. I didn't let Long Er get it directly just because of the money. He has heard of the Long family in Xiongguo. Brother Hua has talked a lot about Xiongguo. Throughout the whole process, Long Er could only nod and obey. He should really let everyone take a look at him. He is so arrogant in normal times, but he can be so well behaved. The character has collapsed. Well, that's what happened. I understand your feelings. In this case, you can take your mother back to the country to have a look. Hyans would not give anyone any guarantee if he didn't see anyone. Okay, I'll listen to Uncle He. So, the matter of medicinal diet was settled. Long Er immediately flew home after taking care of the affairs in country M. After returning home, I hurriedly took my parents to the mainland. Such an action can certainly not be hidden from those who are interested. Those who couldn't deal with the Long family wanted to take action, but the place they went to was the inland, a place they didn't dare to step into. When the Long family arrived, Hyans personally went to pick them up. No matter what, if someone comes to the house and is Xiao's friend, of course he, the host, cannot neglect the guest. While they were at the airport, something happened to them. Hians thought about bringing this person home. After all, he was Xiao's first friend since he was away from home. Both Hians and Mei Shui valued him very much. No, Hians was waiting at the airport exit holding a sign like a fool. There are two characters written on it, Long Er. It can be regarded as his wish as an elder to come and pick him up personally. When the Long family came out, they immediately saw the word sudden. The father and mother looked at their second son and said, "Do you know him?" Long Er was also a little confused, but when he got closer, he became excited and said, "Mom and Dad, that's Uncle He. I didn't expect that Uncle He would come to pick us up in person. He really didn't expect this." Long Er was very excited. He ran directly over, saw the person holding the sign, tidied himself up, and then shouted to Uncle He, who looked at him as if he was stupid, "Uncle He." Hearing the familiar voice, Hians smiled awkwardly, "You are Long Er, come out quickly." Hians did not expect that Long Er looked so similar. A little bit worse than his Xiao. "By the way, why are you here alone? Where is your mother?" Hians knew that he came here because of his mother, so he asked. Long Er then remembered his parents. "Uncle He, please wait a moment." He turned around and ran quickly to his parents. Then they came to Hians and said, "Uncle He, these are my parents, and my parents, this is Uncle He." They immediately introduced the three of them. The Long family's parents are older than Hians, but they look younger, but no matter how young they are not as young as Hians. He looks like he is of the same generation as Long Er. Brother Long and sister-in-law Long, "Hello, welcome to Kyoto." As the host, Hians immediately welcomed him. "Hello, I didn't expect Brother He to be so young. He really doesn't look like someone with such an old son." Father Long sighed. He was envious. He is almost 50 this year, and he looks like an elder when he stands in front of others. Where? My wife took care of me," Hians said honestly. "Well," Father Long is embarrassed again. "You guys have been on the plane for so long. You must be tired. Let's go. The car is outside. Let's go home first." Hians took the box from Father Long's hand. As soon as they heard that they were going home, the three members of the Long family all laughed. They did not expect that they would pick them up and take them to their home. If it were them, they would arrange a hotel outside. After getting into the car, Long's father sat on the passenger seat, and Long Er took his mother on the back. The car started quickly. After leaving the airport, Hians, who was still chatting and laughing, stopped. "Brother Long, it seems that you have many enemies in Siang Kingdom." Hians glanced at Father Long and said. Father Long was a little confused as to why he had mentioned this matter. Those who do business have few enemies. What did Brother He say? He is not stupid. "We are being followed." Hians didn't intend to lie to them. "However, if you dare to take action in Kyoto, you are really not afraid of death." "What?" Long Er was startled. "Dad, what should I do?" If they were in the car, he wouldn't be afraid, but now that his mother is here, he has to be afraid. Hians understood what he meant. "This kid is good. Don't worry, no one in Kyoto can touch my He family's car." Hians smiled. There was disdain in his eyes. "Of course, it's not that he is arrogant, but that he has the ability." I took out my phone and dialed a number. After a while, the other end of the phone answered. "Are you back?" A woman's voice came from the phone. "No, wife, something happened on the way. We may come back later and you can make dinner later." "That's right," he called his wife. Seeing him doing this, the Long family was stunned. Of course, they are now in Kyoto, on the chassis of the He family, and they just listened to him. Mei Shui was speechless. "Okay, I understand." After saying that, she hung up the phone. "It's so cold." Hians, who knew her well, shook his head. "It's over, I have to kneel on the washboard again when I go back." Mei Shui's voice was obviously very angry. Long's father was not sure. After hearing Hian's muttering, he looked puzzled and asked, "Ah, why?" Hian's car was still driving as before, taking his time and pace. "My wife is angry." "It's not that simple when she is angry. Brother Long, you also know that there is no reason for a woman to be angry." Hian's almost wanted to cry. "Not only do you have to kneel down, you may not even get on the bed." Father Long was embarrassed. The mother of dragons laughed, but she didn't pick him up when she went out. "Humph, you dare to frame me, there will be no end." Hians drove faster and faster, and the place he drove to became more and more remote. "Long you will see all those people clearly in a moment, write them all down for me." Hians was really angry. "Uncle are there many people on the other side? If there are many, then what about them?" Long was very worried. "There are quite a few." Hian sensed that there were too many people at the airport before, so he didn't think much about it. He just didn't expect that there would be so many people after they left the airport. However, he is not afraid yet. "Don't worry, since you have come to Kyoto, I won't let anything happen to you." He could still guarantee this. Mei Shui is worried that he will get into trouble, mainly because she plans to leave home when the children are older, fearing that they will be in trouble by then. If it weren't for this, I'm afraid she would be even more excited than him. "It's been a long time since I had a fight." No, it should be said that there has never been a real fight. It just so happened that this time the person asked him to practice his skills. Seeing Uncle He being so confident and excited, Long became more and more worried. But he also knew that there was nothing to say at this time, so he immediately contacted the people on his side. Fortunately, someone from them also came to the airport. After receiving the call, they immediately turned around. The car went further and further away, and Hians drove faster and faster. Until we entered a small road. The road was so bad that the people sitting in the car started to sway from side to side. Because Mother Dragon was there, Hians drove the car fairly steadily. The road came to an end soon, and Hians stopped the car. He turned around and got out of the car directly. "You guys stay inside and don't move." After getting out of the car, he immediately threw a spiritual cover on the car, fearing that someone would take advantage of him if he was distracted, and it would be bad if he hurt the Long family in the car. Long looked worried. The father of the dragon is more prosperous. "Hey, brother, please let me get off the car. I'm old, but I'm not too old to move." Having come down from mountains of swords and seas of fire, he certainly has the ability to protect himself. When Long heard his father's words, he also wanted to drive down the car. "Uncle count me in." Hians glanced at the two of them, and finally shook his head. "No, you can't steal people from me." He hasn't played with people yet. Without saying a word, he walked to a place about 3 meters away from the car. There were so many people behind me who also stopped their cars. One by one, they walked down with high spirits. Hand over the Long family. Their words had a clear Siang accent. Hians frowned a little when he heard them talking. He couldn't help it. They spoke too fast and he didn't quite understand. Seeing that the people were almost here, Hians took action without saying a word. "It's your first time, of course you have to feel your own strength." Without using spiritual power, Hians fought there physically. In a group of people, there are actually a few who can fight. Hians knows that he has gained some grounding these days. At least the dark energy has come out. If I work harder, I might be able to break through the Ming energy. Unfortunately, today I am my enemy. There were probably about 20 or 30 people in the group. Hians was quickly surrounded by everyone in the fighting circle. Some people are interested in driving. Of course Hians saw their actions, but unfortunately, he didn't care at all. As far as they are concerned, it is impossible to break through his protective shield. A few thought-provoking people took the steel pipes in their hands and smashed them against the car. Unfortunately, the car didn't hit them and they were ejected. This scene shocked the Long family. Father Long has seen the world after all, and soon he thought of a kind of person. He had seen this kind of person when he was young. But those people behind seemed to have disappeared. They were all gone. Now seeing such a magical scene again, Father Long's previously somewhat proud heart now sank to the bottom of the sea. He is not worthy. Being able to do business with the He family is because he has reached a high level. Second brother, please be more respectful to your uncle He from now on. Father Long looked at his son and told him seriously. The mother of dragons didn't speak the whole time. She was actually very worried, but she was afraid that she would bring danger to them, so she kept silent. But even so, her heart ached badly and she was sweating profusely. When Father Long turned around, he saw something was wrong with his wife and immediately became nervous. "Hui Hui, are you okay?" Father Long asked with a worried look on his face. The full name of Dragon Mother is Anyan Hui, and Dragon Father always calls her daughter-in-law or Hui Hui. And the word Hui Hui was never called again after they broke up because she wouldn't let it. She said he didn't deserve it. The mother of dragons didn't care about his title. Looking at his worried eyes, she shook her head and gave him a smile. "I'm fine. Don't worry, I won't die." Long Er also looked at his mother at this time. "Mom, have you brought any medicine? Where is the medicine? Where is the medicine?" Long Er immediately began to search. Fortunately, he found the medicine that his mother usually took in her bag. "Mom, take it quickly. This medicine is prescribed by the doctor just in case. I just didn't expect it to be used now." Fortunately, it didn't take long outside. End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 526. Chapter 526, He Shiu and Hua 08. After taking care of everyone, Hians opened the car door. "You guys come down here and recognize me. These people are so incompetent," Hian said with disgust. At this time, the Dragon Mother had calmed down a bit. When Father Long was looking for the car door, he didn't forget to say to his son, "Just don't move and take care of your mother." After saying that, he got out of the car. After seeing the people on the ground, Father Long sighed. "You guys are really determined not to give up." He has always been engaged in a black and gray business, and has been cleaning up his business in the past 2 years. There are many people who offend on the road, but people on the road have a rule: don't touch your family members. But these people rushed towards me, fearing that they would kill themselves and their whole family. This is not the way. There were actually a few familiar people inside, which made Father Long a little sad. After all, there are too many good days, so I'm looking for trouble. Without saying anything, he took out the phone and called his eldest son. As soon as the phone call came through, Father Long said 7 words: "Get rid of your second uncle." That's right. These people are all the men of his second brother. This second brother is not his biological brother, but the brother he worked with since childhood. However, everyone is greedy. The people who were still wailing on the ground closed their mouths when they heard this. They know that if the second boss is moved, then these people's minds began to change. "Boss, we don't want it either." So, one by one began to beg for mercy. Looking at them like this, Hians curled his lips and said, "People's hearts are so unpredictable." He was standing next to the car, and everyone could hear his words. Father Long agreed very much. "Yes, it's my fault that we can only share happiness but not happiness." He never treats his brothers badly. It's just that he didn't expect that the brother he thought would actually want his life. In this case, what else does he have to worry about? Soon, Long Er's men arrived. As soon as I came over, I saw those people on the ground, and they were controlling them one by one. "Boss," he shouted when he saw Father Long. Seeing the people coming, Father Long smiled, "Long Wu, I'll leave them to you." Seeing that the matter was over, Hians didn't say much and got into the car directly. This fight was not fun and boring. "Brother I've shocked you of course." What shocked him more was Hian's abilities. He also knows that there are some things that cannot be said. It's best to see through it without telling it off. "It's okay, I have to thank you. If it weren't for you, I really wouldn't have found anyone to practice with." The car started. It was already 4 o'clock in the afternoon when I got home. What the Long family wants to do is their business and has nothing to do with him. Mei Shui has been waiting for a long time, not only her, but Grandma is also waiting at home. Xiaopeng and the others are still at school and haven't come back yet, so their home is not crowded. Seeing the person coming, Mei Shui greeted him very politely. After taking one look at her man, she gave him a roll of her eyes. Hians is called an innocent person. "This is my wife, this is brother Long and sister-in-law Long, and this is Long Er." Hians was the first to introduce everyone. Brother Long, sister-in-law Long. After hearing Hian's introduction, Mei Shui also knew how to call people. Long Er is a junior, so Mei Shui nodded to him and let it go. "But Long Er is a discerning person, Aunt Mei," he said politely. "This is Xiao's friend." Mei Shui gave him a rare smile. "Okay." Mei Shui rarely talks, let alone this unfamiliar person. After everyone said hello, they walked into the living room. The environment of the small courtyard of the He family cannot be compared with other places. Mother Dragon, who was still a little uncomfortable when she came in, took a deep breath. When Mei Shui saw Mother Long like this, she was a little worried. Did she get irritated on the road? Isn't her health too bad? "I'm afraid she won't be able to eat the food at home for a while. If her foundation is too weak, she will be depleted if she eats too much food." Hians understood what she meant and nodded. "Well, she saw it during the fight." "Then let's make porridge for her again," Mei Shui said softly. "Well, my wife is the best." The young couple spread dog food in front of them. Coming to the living room, Grandma He had been waiting here for a long time. When he saw the people coming, he immediately came over and said, "You're finally here. Nothing happened on the way? Come on, come and sit down." Grandma He was very enthusiastic. "This is my grandma." Hians introduced them again. "Hello, Grandma," the dragon father and the dragon mother said in unison. Long Er stood aside obediently and said, "Hello, madam." "Okay, everything is okay, come on, come and sit down, girl, what's wrong with you? Why is your face so ugly, Grandma?" he immediately asked nervously after seeing Dragon Mother. "Perhaps it's because everyone in the family is capable. Grandma He has also been practicing as a doctor for a long time. Judging from the looks on her face, she is very good at it." Hearing the old lady's question, Long Mu smiled and shook her head. "It's okay, Grandma He. I just get a little motion sick. It's better not to let others worry about this matter." When she heard that it was motion sickness, Grandma He felt relieved. "It's okay to be motion sick. Come on, Grandma will give you a good thing. Let me tell you, I ate it when I got motion sick and it was very useful." Grandma He treated herself like a treasure. The collection was taken out. Seeing her grandma like this, Mei Shui hurriedly stepped forward and said, "Grandma, don't make trouble. Sister-in-law Long is not motion sickness, she is not feeling well. She can't take these pills. Don't take medicine randomly." Hearing this, Long Er and Long Father looked surprised. They knew that Mrs. He could heal, but they didn't expect her medical skills to be so high. At the beginning, those doctors only used machines to draw blood to determine the condition. "Ah, you are sick, you kid, why don't you tell the truth?" Grandma He was shocked. If she really took this medicine, wouldn't it be harmful to others? At this moment, Mrs. Long became embarrassed and said, "I'm sorry, Grandma." It's okay, you child, If you are sick, you have to say, don't be afraid, my Xiaoxiu can cure the disease, come and give her a look. Grandma, he was really warm-hearted. Of course, it is also because of Xiao. Had she not been Xiao's friend, she wouldn't have betrayed Xiaoxiu like this. Mei Shui was speechless. However, she still came over and checked Sister Long's pulse. 3 minutes later, Mei Shui said, you have been hit mentally and your heart has been hurt. The illness is not serious, but it is not serious either. You need to rest. The diagnosis was made, but in her opinion, it was not too serious. But what she didn't know was that in the ears of the Long family, these words were the words of God. Aunt May, can you smell it? Long Er asked excitedly. He came here with the intention of curing his mother's illness, but he didn't expect that it would give him such a big surprise. Mei Shui nodded, yes, but it's hard to find the medicine. You have to rely on yourselves. Her prescriptions all require expensive medicinal materials. This disease cannot be cured if it is placed in a modern hospital. She can do it. No problem, brother and sister, if you want any medicinal materials, I will definitely get them. Father Long asked anxiously. Mei Shui didn't show off, just picked up the pen next to her and wrote down. There are some medicines in it that she wants, so let's take them as payment. That's it? You'd better bring it over in the next few days, Mei Shui said seriously. Hians took a closer look and twitched his mouth. His wife was really not at a disadvantage. He likes. Hong Kong is not as big as the mainland, but there are a lot of good things there. These medicinal materials are not too difficult for the Long family, they just cost some money. Okay, I'll do it right away. After saying that, Father Long immediately took out his mobile phone and called his eldest son. Seeing that the matter was settled, Mei Shui stood up and said, Sister-in-law Long, you can't eat these meals. Just wait for me for a while and I'll make you some soup. Originally I wanted to make porridge, but at this point, I'm afraid everyone is hungry. The dragon mother felt a little embarrassed. Would it be too troublesome for you? No, just add some soup, it doesn't matter. Mei Shui turned around and went out. The He family and the Long family got to know each other again. After Long father and Long Er looked at each other, they both saw recognition in each other's eyes. Shortly after they finished eating, the dragon mother was arranged to go to the backyard to rest. Longfu and Longer are very interested in medicinal diet and want to know more about it. Mei Shui did not hide this, and introduced the medicinal diet to them. After a while, Xiao Peng and the others came back. Seeing that there were guests at home, the two brothers immediately stopped playing. Mom, Dad, Madam, because they didn't know each other, the three of them walked up to their parents and called out. Grandma, he was very happy when she saw the three people coming back. School is over, are you hungry? We have eaten, and there is food left for you in the kitchen. After saying that, the old lady took Xiaoyu's hand and asked, are you tired today? Seeing the three children, Father Long and Long Er recognized Xiao Peng and Xiao Cheng. After all, they had checked them. But they really don't know this little girl. Xiao Peng, Xiao Cheng, Xiao Yu, come here and call for someone. This is your eldest brother's good friend Long Yuanxi. This is his father. Your name is Uncle Long. Hians became the introducer again. Hello, Uncle Long, hello, Brother Long. The three of them were very obedient and shouted to Long Er, the father of the dragon. Okay, okay, okay. Father Long was very happy to see them. I really envy you for having such a lovely daughter. He really wanted to have a daughter, but his wife's body. It's okay not to say it. Haha, you are mistaken. She is not my daughter, but my second daughter-in-law. Hians immediately laughed after hearing what Father Long said. My three sons are really strong, and all of them have wives. What? Long Er was shocked. How old is he? These two are twins, right? How old are they this year? I have brought my daughter-in-law home, which is really enviable. No, Xiaopeng and the others are only 13 this year. The old lady was so proud. Their wives are all chosen by themselves. As you know, my eldest daughter is the girl from the Hua family. I fell in love with her at first sight. Unfortunately, I left in a hurry and couldn't make up my mind for a while regarding this. The old lady, I have regretted it for a long time. Xiao Cheng's wife was also found by himself. I heard from Xiao Peng that he cheated her with candy when talking about the 3 children. The old lady was so happy that she couldn't open her mouth from ear to ear. Hearing these words made Father Long feel envious. Glaring at his son. It seems to be saying that he has no future, not even comparable to a child. Long Er was speechless and had the nerve to glare at him. He himself was too young to catch up with his wife. Snored. The battle between father and son's eyes was seen by everyone. What, Long Er, you also have a partner? The old lady loved this lively happy event. No, Father Long said with a look of hatred on his face, I have been chasing him since I was a kid, but now I still can't catch him. He got angry when he talked about this. Long Er wanted to know who he had offended and why he had to suffer such a sin here. Xiao Peng and Xiao Cheng both looked at him with gossipy faces, as if waiting for him to tell his story. The Long family settled down in the He family. Mei Shui then helped Long Mu take care of her body and took her around Kyoto. How about letting her play in the store? As soon as her mood gets better, Dragon Mother's body also changes day by day. This made the father and son of the Long family, who had been walking around, very happy. I can say that this trip was worth it. A week later, the eldest son of the Long family sent someone what Father Long wanted. He was busy there, and with his second uncle's affairs, he really couldn't leave, so he could only ask his subordinates to come and take a look. You can go back and tell him when the time comes. As soon as she got the medicinal materials, Mei Shui gave Long Mu medicine to cure her illness that day. Xiao Peng followed me throughout the process. Seeing this, what else does the Long family not understand? The second son of the He family is also studying medicine. Fortunately, they didn't know that the 3 brothers of the He family were all very skilled in medicine. Otherwise, I would definitely respect the He family even more and treat them like gods. Due to Mother Long's illness, Father Long and Mother Long stayed here for an extra month. The relationship between the two seemed to have heated up because they were in the He family. For this, Father Long was very grateful to the couple of the He family who had been spoiling things in front of him. During this rare break, Father Dragon also planned to take Mother Dragon around for a walk. However, Mei Shui persuaded her to come down, because the Mother of Dragon's body was not completely emptied. The affairs of the medicinal food store were all left to Long Er. Long Er also sent people to study, but no matter how they studied, they could not learn the essence. In the end, Mei Shui had no choice but to let people from Miao village go to Xiangguo to host it. Long Er has no opinion on this at all. These people are all masters, he has seen them before. In terms of planting, there are also 2 veterans. It is Mr. Ji and his wife. Mei Shui also took out a small piece of spiritual crystal. It was very small, just like a piece of crystal. Ji's family all know the usefulness of this thing. Uncle Ji is very happy about going to Xiangguo to open a new medicine garden. He is like growing medicine, he can do it wherever he goes. Now there are too many people in Bama village. One more person is not more, and one person less is not less. Long Er is busy as a dog. He Xiu and Hua did make greater progress. For example, one night, Hua was instigated by Zheng Xiang and slept with He Xiu. This incident really made He Xiu take a high look at Mr. Hua. This girl was so drunk that she dared to use force against him. Of course, he also fulfills her strong woman wishes. No, as soon as the summer vacation came, he brought the person back. Don't say anything more. Get engaged. You must get engaged. If possible, get married. The He family and the Hua family are together again. This makes the flower father unhappy. I also blamed Shi Weiken a lot. If it weren't for him, how could his precious daughter be kidnapped so quickly? Can't take it out on his son-in-law. All he can do is use his brother-in-law as a barrel. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 527. Chapter 527, Development. After learning about this, the happiest person was Uncle Shi. Dance every day to celebrate. Everyone knows what he is doing for, and it's just that drink. Yes, whoever makes the He family happy. The most unhappy people during this dinner were probably the Hua family father and son. One felt sorry for his precious daughter who was being ignored, and the other felt sorry for his younger sister who was being cared for at such a young age. Compared to the two of them, Hua Mu is the only one happy. As the saying goes, the more a mother-in-law looks at her son-in-law, the more satisfied she becomes. In particular, Xiao gave her a set of cosmetics collected by his mother. She always praised Xiao every day when she saw people. It almost made others think that it was her son, but in the end they found out that it was her son-in-law. Of course everyone is envious of this. Grandma, we have to hire 2 matchmakers for Xiao's engagement. Mei Shui had a headache, and this guy really didn't leave any time for her. But she was very satisfied to see him bring the person back. Today, the He family only has their own family, no outsiders. After the last meal, everyone also started to prepare for the marriage of the 2 children. The Hua family is dominated by Xiongguo, and there will definitely be an engagement banquet there. No matter how reluctant Hua's father is, he will still have to make the engagement banquet lively for the sake of his daughter. Not to mention that he was only dissatisfied on the lips, but actually liked He Xiu as his son-in-law. Grandma He was stunned for a moment when she heard Xiaoxiu's words, "Can't I?" Meixiu was speechless. "Grandma, please stop making trouble. What do you think? Her great-grandson was engaged, and her wife came forward as a matchmaker. What was going on?" "Well, if that's the case, then please show off to Grandma Linlin and Grandma Linlin. They are familiar with each other. I'll leave it to them this time." Grandma Xiu and Grandma Lin had already made some guesses. They originally wanted to bring it up, but in the end they didn't open their mouths. The main reason was that the He family had their own plans. After thinking about it for a while, Mei Shui agreed with Grandma's idea. "How about asking tomorrow?" Mei Shui was afraid that they would not be willing. "No need to ask, I'll call them now. They must be waiting at home anxiously." She moved immediately. After speaking, Grandma He picked up the phone at hand and started dialing. She remembered their phone calls very well. "Hello." The call was quickly connected, and then Grandma He started chatting with the 2 grandmas. After talking about one thing, talk about the next one. Mei Shui and Hians looked at each other and left the living room. They still have to confirm something with Xiao. If possible, they want to finalize their marriage. This matter was mainly Hian's idea. He thought that he was already so old and had never been able to find a chance to accompany Xiaoxiu and Grandma around. Now that Xiao has grown up, the marriage will definitely be settled and he will also be an adult. All matters at home can be left in his hands, and he has great faith in Xiao's ability. Otherwise, Brother Hua wouldn't have snatched his son from him last time. It says that he has 3 sons and is not short of them, but he is short of sons. I am not afraid of the eldest son of Huajia to turn his face. He finally raised Xiao up, and he was just waiting for him to take over the mess he left behind. How could he let go? When they arrived in their room, Hians told Mei Shui his plan. Mei Shui couldn't laugh or cry. Xiao hasn't graduated from university yet. This person really thinks all the time. Grandma's health is not bad, so she can afford to wait a few more years. He has time to talk to his girlfriend before he graduates, but he won't have time when he takes over my career. At this time, Hyans was a little unreasonable. But he was right, Xiao was very capable and it was easy to take over those businesses. It will just be a bit more bitter. Besides, he is still so young, so what if he has to suffer for a few years? At that time they were even more miserable than this. Xiao didn't know that his parents were plotting against him, otherwise he would never come back even if they beat him to death. Wouldn't he be happy in a world between two people? Mei Shui rolled her eyes. This man is so small-minded. You, don't let Xiao know, otherwise he will definitely not come back for several years. Mei Shui still knew her son very well. So, I don't plan to let him know that after he gets engaged, I plan to let him be free for another year. After 1 year, he can't take over if he wants. This was his biggest concession. A year later, even if Xiao doesn't come back, he plans to ask Xiang Yang and the others to contact Xiao. He will use this year to lay the groundwork for him. Whether it is a voyage, a vegetable base, or a beauty research institute, he plans to leave these in Xiao's hands. As for Xiaopeng, it's simple. Leave the medicine field and medicine room in Bama village to him. I believe he can do a good job. As for Xiao Cheng, let Xiao Yu arrange it. He still has no way of knowing Xiao Cheng's plan. He likes martial arts, but in this world, martial arts are of little use. Either security or the army. It depends on what he thinks. You are so cruel, you are digging a hole for him. Mei Shui has never seen such a father, but she likes him very much. But I like it. After saying this, Mei Shui laughed. Yeah, you think my idea is good too. Hyans was as happy as a child when his wife agreed. By the way, where are Xiaopeng and the others? Why aren't you at home today? Only then did Hyans think of his sons. They went out to play. It seems they wanted to blackmail their elder brother. Mei Shui remembered saying this when they went out. That's it. Let's take grandma out to eat tonight. We haven't gone out to eat for a long time. Hyans is still very romantic. Okay, I'll listen to you. Mei Shui had no objection to this. Hua was taken back by the Hua family. Because of Hua Ziqian's marriage last time, the Hua family also bought their own villa in Kyoto. Now that Hua has married into Kyoto again, they no longer need to live in Shibuya. Of course, the most pitiful person is Shi Weiken, who is still being suppressed by his brother-in-law at such a young age. He really wanted to blame Xiao, but Xiao was protected by everyone, so he couldn't blame him. Because the He family has a simple population, it is much easier to prepare for the engagement banquet. After deciding on a hotel, we chose a good day to go out, and then it was time for the matchmaker to get busy. Grandma Xiu and Grandma Lin are so busy that they are very happy. Seeing how busy they were, Aunt Zhao, Uncle Zhao's wife, and Aunt Ma, Shi Weiken's mother, were the least happy. Logically speaking, it was their turn, but the reality was that they had no chance to compete with Ben. You can only be a quiet guest. It's a shame to envy the two old ladies. His eldest son's engagement banquet still alarmed some people. The people who came that day were all well-known people in Kyoto. Some came because of the medicinal diet, and some came because of the prescriptions in Mei Shui's hands. No matter what they came for, they were guests of the He family, and both Mei Shui and Hyans entertained them warmly. The Hua family were surprised when they saw these people coming. All in all, this was a lively engagement party. Xiao and Hua finally decided on their names. This is very worthwhile for them. For this reason, Xiao also planned to take the flowers out to play for some time, and it happened that school was still on vacation. At first he thought his father would not let him go and planned to take him away secretly. Unexpectedly, on the night of the engagement, Xiao was called over by his parents. Xiao, you are engaged today, and you will have a family in the future. It was Hyans who spoke. You must not be sorry, or I will break your legs. Kindly warned. The person sitting next to Xiao was startled. He stood up immediately and explained, "Dad, he can't do it. I believe him." Hians was very satisfied seeing his daughter-in-law trusting Xiao so much. However, he was also a little dissatisfied with Hua's trust in Xiao so much, so he said, "Ah, you believe that his father has no objection, but you can't be so trusting to others. You will only be hurt by this." He could see that Hua's family was a family that loved their children, but it was like this that Hua was taught to be so simple. Harry's face turned red all of a sudden. "Yes, I understand, Dad," he responded quickly. Mei Shui pulled Hian's clothes and said, "Okay, why are you talking so much? They are still young. They will know when they are older some things have to be dealt with by themselves, and adults cannot interfere too much." Xiao patted Hua's hand and asked her to relax. He understood what his father meant. "Dad, we know, don't worry, we will pay more attention outside." Xiao hurriedly came to the rescue. "That's good." Hians nodded and gave Xiao and the others a smile. "By the way, you guys have just gotten engaged. Have you ever gone out to have some fun?" Hians asked with a chuckle on his face. He is really a kind father at this time. Xiao was also stunned. His dad actually let him go out to play? He really didn't expect this. Not only did he not expect it, but Xiaopeng and Xiaocheng sitting beside him didn't expect it either. They thought that after their eldest brother got engaged, his father would drag him to work in the company. Now it seems that they are just thinking too much. Think of Dad too narrowly. Dad, Xiao shouted in surprise. "Why, don't you allow me to be nice to you?" Hians immediately became anxious, as if he was trying to hide his embarrassment. Meixiu, who knew the inside story, watched her son jump into the pit. "I was looking at the map of Dragon Kingdom with my grandma, looking for delicious and fun things." In the eyes of the children, they thought they were prepared for Xiao. "Hee, no, no, Dad, do you really want me to go out to play? Don't you have to go to the company?" Xiao was so happy that he couldn't even speak coherently. "Ah, it turns out you want to go to work. You should have told me earlier." Hians looked happy. No, Dad, I didn't think so. I thought you thought so." Xiao waved his hand immediately. He didn't want to go to work. Hearing his son's words, Hian's mood became obviously depressed. "Well, I know you don't have any intention of helping me." Speaking of the end, Xiao left Kyoto with the flowers the next day, walking in a hurry. This made Hians think that he knew his plan. "I have been complaining to my wife that it is not good to raise such a smart child." Xiao didn't know that he would be tricked by his father in the next year because of this trip. Xiaopeng and the others complained the most. They were very angry about the fact that their eldest brother only took his sister-in-law with him. Until later, they helped hide the fact that their parents ran away from home. After Xiao and the others left, the family returned to its usual peace. Mei Shui is busy working in the herbal medicine shop every day. The men who came out of the village were also slowly taken out of the division. Compared to before, now she can rest in the store. No longer busy all day long, because of the additional manpower, the business in the store is better than before. Grandma, he was merciless in collecting money. Time passed very quickly, and number 3 finally retreated. After he retired, he had more free time, and he focused all his attention on collecting medicinal materials. "I also pack and take meals home from the herbal medicine shop every day. Because more and more people are in good health after taking medicated food shops have gradually become a scene in Kyoto. Everyone now says that a person who has not eaten the medicated diet from the medicated diet room is not considered a superior person." Mei Shui thought about this. Should she mention the price again? As soon as the idea came up, she rejected it herself. A month later, Xiao returned home and then went directly back to school. The Hua family has become closer and closer because of Xiao's relationship. The Hua family not only does beauty business with the He family, but also cooperates in the vegetable business. He Anyang saw the business opportunity and directly said that he would go to Xiongguo to build a vegetable base. His wife was not happy about this. It's not that she doesn't support his work, but that she is pregnant again and cannot leave with him. For this reason, he directly cooperated with Huajia to start a base business. When Li Hai found out, he was very embarrassed. She came to his house and apologized directly to Mei Shui. Sister-in-law, I didn't know this would be the case. If she had known, she would not have planned to let Anyang leave her. As a woman, she still wants to have her husband by her side during pregnancy. Just think of her as being pretentious. The family has enough money, and what she is pursuing now is family reunion. Hearing her words, Mei Shui immediately shook her head. You are pregnant, so don't think too much. I agree to cooperate with the Hua family. I think it is better this way. Mei Shui knew what she was thinking, but she felt that money was not as important as her family. She agreed with Li Hai's idea. Don't worry, I won't blame Anyang. Besides, he's doing much better than me. Look at how many bases we have now. We make a lot of money every year that we couldn't even imagine before. Afraid of her random thoughts, Mei Shui comforted her. But of course she knew this, but their family also took advantage of her sister-in-law's family. It's nothing to worry about. Just take good care of yourself and give birth to the baby safely. Mei Shui patted Li Hai's hand and told her not to be so nervous. After Li Hai left the He family, she smiled. No one can compare to my sister-in-law. She is such a good person. Of course she knew the past situation of He Anyang's family, and because she knew, she was even more grateful to her sister-in-law's family. Especially the third grandma, she is a hard-spoken but soft-hearted person. Over the years, she has been very kind to herself. After seeing off Li Hai, Mei Shui talked to her grandma. Why do you think this child is so thoughtful? She didn't understand business matters, but she also knew that the problem this time was not with Anyang, but with Xiaoxiu. End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 528. Chapter 528, Arrangement. It's normal. She has always been careful with these people, just because she is afraid that if she doesn't do well, she will offend us. People who are grateful will make people feel bad. She is a good person. Grandma He also liked this grandson-in-law very much. These grandsons in the family have married very good wives. Whether it is Li Hai or Li Shuang, each one is better than the other. Now it's almost done, and I don't know what the kid is looking for. It's not formal at all. It almost makes my mother anxious to death. By the way, tomorrow you go to the wine shop and free Cheng for me, and I will take him on a blind date. Grandma He was so frightened that Cheng was crying. Seeing her helpless look on her grandma's face, Mei Shui immediately laughed and said, "Ha ha, that's no problem. It was just a wine shop, and she happened to have a new recipe, so she went to discuss the new recipe with Wen. When we got to Anliang, we didn't expect that the low-end wines were more popular than the high-end ones. A few years later, Wen was suppressed. I really didn't expect it. However, both sides have their own advantages. High-end wine has the benefits of high-end wine. At least in the development of Bodhi Winery, high-end wine has played a very important role in promotion. The above is also a big door for convenience. Aunt Lanhua is so anxious every day now that her mouth is blistering. She sees that Anliang Anshan's children, who are about the same age as Cheng, can play soy sauce, but her son has not moved at all. No matter how hard she tried, he remained unmoved, which gave her a headache. She was beaten and scolded, but he just didn't want a wife. Had it not been for her special health condition, she would have wanted to have a second child. It was just a fine. Her family is not short of this money now. No, the request went to the third aunt, who agreed to take Cheng on a blind date. She breathed a sigh of relief. Mei Shui was really dumbfounded when she saw her grandma like this. "Grandma, where are you going to take An Cheng on a blind date?" She also didn't expect that An Cheng didn't want to get married. It's not that they haven't asked about this, but he himself said that he doesn't want to get married now. "Never mind that for now, I'll tell you, Grandma Xiu, they have already made arrangements for him. None of those girls are bad, and there's always one that I like." They really worked An Cheng's marriage. All Mei Shui can do now is mourn for An Cheng. The next day, Mei Shui went to the winery after breakfast. She had not been here for several days. Because An Wen and the others were doing a good job and there was nothing for her to worry about. She went to find An Cheng first and asked him to be replaced first. As soon as the office door was opened, An Cheng Gong raised his head and looked over. When he saw the person coming, he was so happy. "Sister-in-law, why are you here today? This silly kid probably doesn't know what his family has arranged for him, and Mei Shui doesn't intend to say anything about it." "It's not because you are too busy. I plan to give you 2 days off so that you can have a good rest," Mei Shui said directly. This time An Cheng was frightened. "Sister-in-law, I haven't done anything wrong recently. He has some skills." Looking at the nervous An Cheng, Mei Shui suppressed a smile and said, "No, you didn't do anything wrong. The main thing is that you did it very well, so why don't I come and give you a holiday?" "Sister-in-law, don't be like this. I'm afraid this is not the sister-in-law he knows. How could she be so kind?" Meixiu was speechless. Why did this child owe so much? "What are you afraid of? Come back right now. I don't even want to be rude." This tone sounds much more comfortable. "Sister-in-law, are you really going to give me a day off? Thinking about it, I have pretty much dealt with everything these days and there is nothing to be busy with. It would be nice to take a few days off." "Yes, it's a holiday. Come back when I ask you to come to work. This time I'm afraid I won't be able to come back without finding a girlfriend." "Okay, I've been so busy these past few days, haha, sister-in-law, you're so kind." And Cheng was very happy about this. "Desing, go back and have a good rest." After persuading An Cheng to go back, Mei Shui went directly to find An Wen. There was nothing she could do to help An Cheng here, and nothing big would happen anyway. "There are still a group of people staring down below, don't be afraid." Coming to another building, Mei Shui's identity is not a secret here. Everyone at the front desk recognizes her, and there is no such thing as a slap in the face on TV. She was taken directly to An Wen's office. "Mr. Mei, Mr. An is inside. You can go in." The secretary stood in front of the door and said to Mei Shui. "Okay, thank you." Pushing the door open and going in, An Wen was on the phone. When he saw Mei Shui coming in, he stood up. Mei Shui shook her head, pointed at his phone, and asked him to finish his work first. Then she walked to the sofa and sat down. An Wen's phone call ended a little slowly, mainly because of the raw materials. The supply of raw materials in Bama village will be temporarily unavailable, and they now have to get them from elsewhere. Finally hung up the phone, An Wen said happily, "Sister-in-law, why did you want to get up and see us? Since the winery opened, I can count on one hand the number of times my sister-in-law has come. I'm here to give you a new recipe. I can't try it at home." She researched the new recipe, but there weren't that many experiments with medicinal materials at home. In any case, it is better to leave it to An Wen for making wine. "What recipe?" An Wen was very happy when he heard that there was a new recipe. Their high-end health wines are now experiencing a certain period of exhaustion, and it is time to launch some new wines. It's a wine that improves immunity, but we don't know how it will work until it's brewed. She has the recipe, but she doesn't know how effective the final result will be. This is a good thing nowadays. People are paying more and more attention to their health. The market for drinks that improve immunity is huge. By then, we will only have a large number of customers in the young people segment. When it comes to business matters, An Wen seems to be a different person. but Mei Shui is used to it. Yes, this wine can be given to children, and it will not harm the children's health. She found out that it was mainly beneficial rather than harmful. Unlike that health-boosting wine, children will be somewhat uncomfortable if they drink it. In terms of immunity, children and the elderly may have greater needs. That's a good relationship. And Wen was excited. If it was true as his sister-in-law said, then his high-end wine would become popular again. Having been oppressed by An Cheng and An Liang this year, he was almost depressed. If this is the case, people with better family conditions will buy it, and then our wine will be able to sell a lot more. Looking at how excited he was, Mei Shui really didn't want to hit him. Ken. Well, and Wen, I want you to experiment with Uncle Drunkard. I didn't say that this wine should be high-end. She thought of these issues when she was researching, and she didn't plan to sell it at a high price. The main reason is that the audience area is too broad, and if the price is too high, it may not sell well. So she made certain changes in the medicinal materials. If the research is successful, the wine will only be handed over to An Liang for sale. There is no way. The research department of Bodhi Winery is directly controlled by An Wen and Uncle Jigui. They can only sell finished products rather than conduct independent research. This is also what Mei Shui means. There are many people and she has to be careful. Hearing this, An Wen burst into tears. No, sister-in-law, why are you always thinking about An Liang and the others? Look at me, I feel so pitiful. Now, Ankan and An Liang are quarreling in front of me every day. Anchen and I can hardly hold our heads up. If they hadn't been cousins, they would have started fighting. Don't be anxious, at worst I'll research a wine recipe for you. Looking at An Wen's pitiful look, Mei Shui couldn't help but comfort her. Hearing this, An Wen smiled. It's agreed, sister-in-law, you can help me research it as soon as possible. I finally got some benefit. Seeing how quickly his expression changed, Mei Shui still didn't understand. You kid, you dare to play tricks with me, you really deserve a beating. Mei Shui really didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Okay, you can help An Cheng take care of his affairs these days. I'll give him a day off. The person in charge still has to get one, and it's best not to let anyone disturb An Cheng's blind date. Otherwise Grandma will definitely not be happy then. And Wen was a little confused. Why, sister-in-law, isn't this bad? An Cheng was very guarded against him because he was afraid that he would steal his business. Because Grandma plans to give him a gift. At such an old age, it's time to get married and have children, Mei Shui said helplessly. Upon hearing this, An Wen agreed without saying a word. No problem, this matter will be taken care of by me. I will definitely let him have a good holiday. That stinky boy should have been trained by the third mistress. He was so old that he almost drove Aunt Lanhua crazy. It's good that you know, but don't let his men disturb him. After a few words with An Wen, Mei Shui left the winery. Well, she had always been like this. She had nothing to do except talk about business. In the past, she might have gone to see the progress of the winery, but now, she prefers to go home and sleep. When no one was at home, she would go to the space to have a heart-to-heart talk with Jiaolong. It was very beautiful. But after being back for so long, it's time to go to Xiaobai's place to have a look, but we have to wait until Hian's place is free. And Wen sent Mei Shui to the door, but was soon called away by a man who came to see him for something. Mei Shui drove the car by herself, and when An Wen didn't need to see her off, she let him go and do his work first. But it's time for her to give An Wen some wine recipes. After returning home, Mei Shui closed the door and entered the space. Jiaolong has been bored playing in the space recently. When will you take me out to play? Seeing Mei Shui come in, he immediately ran over and asked. How can you get out like this, with this body? Aren't you afraid of being bombarded by the country? I can transform. As soon as he finished speaking, Jiaolong transformed into a woman. I know, but don't you like the world outside? Mei Shui had never taken her out before, but she disliked it very much. However, I plan to take you to the world where you should live in 2 days. Xiaobai's place is the best place for spiritual creatures like them to survive. But I'm really bored, Jiao said with a lonely look on his face. I'm not here to accompany you every day, so you're still bored. Mei Shui was speechless and found a place to sit down. Also, many good things in my space have been harmed by you, and you are still bored. When talking about this, Mei Shui became very angry. You can't use those things, so what's wrong with me? Jiao said with a guilty look on his face. Well, she hadn't seen such pure spiritual energy for a long time, so she overdid it. She didn't do it on purpose. After realizing her mistake, she never touched her things again. Fortunately, Mei Shui didn't know what she was thinking, otherwise she would have been beaten to death. Think about it, she had eaten all the high-level spiritual creatures, and now all that is left are low-level things. If she hadn't been able to use those things, could she have waited until this dragon came? She and Hians had already used up all the money. After practicing in the space for a while, Mei Shui and Jiao discovered the space together. Not to mention, even if she is the owner of this space, there are many places she has never stepped into. Just like Xiaobai said, this space may grow into a small world in the future. Of course, I don't know when I will go. In the evening, after Hians came back, Mei Shui told him about going to find Xiaobai and told him about the dragon eating all the spiritual objects. Looking at his wife's angry little face, Hians smiled and comforted her for a while. It's no problem to send her away. If we want to go into the mountains, we have to wait for the children to have a holiday and take them to Bama village with us. He was still a little worried about leaving the child at home like this. It's better to have it the day after tomorrow. It happens to be their weekend, so Mr. Wu will let them rest for 2 days. She felt that she always gave people a day off. This is enough. Grandpa Wu said last time that they all studied well, even Xiao Yu. That child is much better than his peers. Xiao Yu is indeed very smart. But now is not the time to teach her how to practice. Let's wait. Whenever I pass the qi with Xiao, I will give it to the children to practice together. Originally I wanted to wait for Xiao 100 years later, but no one could guarantee what would happen in the meantime. So it's better to let him know his backing in advance. Nor will I be tied down in this worldly world. He doesn't give him training, but that doesn't mean he can be bullied by others. Originally, they were afraid that Xiao would be paranoid and think that he was not their biological child, so they could not practice. But this practice is not possible for everyone, and being able to do it and being unable are two different things. Xiao can't, not can't. After discussing it, they happened to come across Xiao's engagement, so Mei Shui and Hians planned to wait until he got married before telling him. By then, Xiaopeng and the others will be at a good age to practice. Now that their muscles and bones have been tortured, they have slowly found their sense of energy, which shows how high their talents are. That's it, then give Mr. Wu a call tomorrow. Mei Shui slowly fell asleep in Hian's arms. Grandma He was busy all day arranging the blind date with Grandma Xiu. She was very tired and fell asleep as soon as she came back after dinner. Not to mention Xiaopeng and others, they are very capable and do not need their parents to worry too much. Have a good night's sleep. Don't stop voting. The author has been away from home recently, so the update has been combined into chapters. I don't have time to divide it into chapters. We apologize for the inconvenience. The number of words is not small. Seeking recommended tickets, seeking monthly tickets, seeking rewards, and thanks to the baby for their rewards. Unfortunately, the author cannot generate a thank you card in the background, and I don't know what's going on. I can only thank you dear ones here, I love you. End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 529. Chapter 529, Miss You. Early the next morning, Grandma, he screamed in the courtyard. Zioxiu, Zioxiu, if you have nothing to do today, come with me to see Anken. Anken will listen to you the most. He will not dare to make excuses to run away when you are there. Grandma, he planned to make two preparations. It's true that she can suppress that boy, but that boy doesn't know how to tell the truth to her. So, Zioxiu has to take action. Mei Shui woke up early in the morning and was watering the flowers in the yard. Grandma, what am I going to do? With her appearance, wouldn't going there make other girls feel inferior? Of course I'm going to suppress An Cheng, otherwise that kid will definitely play tricks on me. Grandma, he said with a clear face. Mei Shui wanted to say it, but An Cheng didn't dare. Think about what he has done over the years. Well, he is really brave in order not to get married. Okay, what time do you have an appointment? Can I finish watering these flowers? These flowers were carefully cultivated by her and were taken from Grandpa Hua's house. That's okay, but you have to hurry up. I'll call your Grandma Xiu. After receiving Zioxiu's response, Grandma he began to work in the front living room again. Mei Shui also sped up her movements by 3 points, and in a short while she watered all the flowers in the yard. The girl we met on a blind date today is a neighbor of Grandma Xiu's house. Her family members are all civil servants, and her conditions can only be considered average. But the girl was good looking, so Grandma Xiu took notice of her at first sight. If there wasn't a suitable girl in the family, An Cheng might not have been able to get her turn. She also told her family about An Cheng's situation. They didn't have any discrimination against people who came from rural areas, and An Cheng was a good person, so there was nothing to criticize. Since the blind dates were arranged by their families, the two girls were a little reluctant. But it's much better than An Cheng. At least people are not that averse to blind dates. The location is a tea house on the busiest street in Kyoto. There is no way, the old man likes places like this. When Grandma he came over with Mei Shui and An Cheng, Grandma Xiu and the others also walked in. As soon as they arrived, Grandma he and Grandma Xiu started to work hard. I always ask you out, but you keep saying you are not available. Why are you free today? In order not to embarrass them too much, everyone hid their words. We're not free anymore. I asked you to come out for tea. Zioxiu is also free today to accompany your grandma for a walk. As soon as they sat down, Grandma Xiu said to the two of them with a smile. An Cheng saw Grandma Xiu on the side and called her Grandma Xiu. Show Grandma. Good boy, An Cheng has a day off today. Grandma Xiu's behavior was so fake. Plus, she had someone with her, so you don't have to be stupid to know what she wanted to do. An Cheng glanced at the girl, and after seeing the resistance in her eyes, he didn't like her the first time he met her. Well, it's rare for my sister-in-law to give me a vacation. Why don't I come out and accompany my third grandma for a walk? An Cheng joked to Grandma Xiu very enthusiastically. You are a filial boy, and I don't know which girl will be so lucky in the future. After Grandma Xiu said this, she glanced at the neighbor girl. She is not stupid. What An Cheng can see, she, a person who has never seen before, cannot see. I just didn't expect that the usually well-behaved child would turn out to be a thoughtful person. It turned out that she had made a mistake. So without further introduction, I came here to have a cup of tea and get together with two old friends. Half an hour later, Grandma Xiu saw that the girl next door was looking at her watch, so she said, Xiaolin, are you busy today? It's me who forced you to go out with me, and it delayed your business. Xiaolin did not deny it, and nodded directly in response. Grandma Xiu, I am still a little busy in the company today. How about I go out with you for a walk next time? She knew what she was here for. Her parents told her about the blind date last night. She was unwilling to do so at first, but because the Wu family had a higher status than her own, she had to make this trip no matter what. I don't know what she was thinking, but she actually introduced her to a man from the countryside. The company was not his own, but he was working for someone else. What future could he have in this way? She is not bad looking, and even if she wanted to look for her, she would not find someone who works for someone else. No one knows what Xiaolin is thinking, but they can see something in her eyes. Even Grandma He, who had always wanted to facilitate An Cheng's marriage, remained silent. Okay, if you have something to do, just go and do your work. You kid, you should have told me if something happened. Grandma Xiu was actually a little unhappy. She didn't expect that she would still see the wrong person when she is old. It's my blessing to accompany you for a walk, but the company is really busy, so. Okay, Grandma knows, go ahead and do your work. If this doesn't work, then the next one will come. Anyway, she knows many good friends who have granddaughters at home. They are all engaged in education, so there must be no difference in education. But she forgot that the Lin family also worked as teachers, but it was a pity that they did not teach their daughter well. After the people left, Grandma He spoke, this girl's eyes are not straight and she has too many thoughts. She is not easy to get along with. Grandma Xiu agreed with this, you're right, this one doesn't count. Let's go and see the next one. She has made appointments. Today she has 3 appointments in total. The time is a bit early, but there is no need to delay. And Chen wanted to refute, but after his sister-in-law glared at him, he gave up. Just listen to the arrangements. The second An Chen was not satisfied either, but the woman was very satisfied with him. Let alone the third one, he almost got into a fight with An Chen, his temper was really fierce. The day passed like this, and An Chen was driven back home. Grandma He scolded him for being useless. An Chen rested for almost 5 days. During these 5 days, he was called by a phone call every morning to go to his third grandmother's house. Mei Shui was watching at first, but after Mei Shui threatened An Chen, she stopped following him. It's the end of the week and she still has things to do. At the end of the week, Mei Shui and Hians took the children to Bama village. Xiaoyu is the happiest because she can see her parents. Xiaopeng and Xiaocheng are also very excited. They can each discuss what they have learned. As soon as they arrived in the village, the family was warmly welcomed by everyone. In the end, it was Ji's father who came out to persuade them to leave. The lives of people in Miao village are much better here than in the village, and they are very grateful to the He family. So it's understandable to be a little enthusiastic. Mei Shui and Hians responded to them one by one. After arranging the children, they said they wanted to go to the mountains. Ji's father asked them if they wanted to come back for lunch, and Hians said no, they would eat some by themselves in the mountains. In this way, the two of them stepped into the mountains. Go to the place where there is only one way. The formation in the depths of Yanshan mountain is still there. The two of them may not have felt it much before, but now, they clearly feel the power of heaven here. I think it is the way of heaven in this world that has carved out such a place specifically for those spiritual beings who have narrowly escaped death. As soon as the formation was triggered, Xiao Bai appeared in front of them. Master, I miss you so much. As soon as he saw his master, Xiao Bai jumped into Mei Shui's arms excitedly. Fortunately, it is used to looking like a puppy. The portion is not heavy, otherwise Mei Shui would definitely avoid it. Are you okay here? Are Little Red and Big White still used to it? They are all her friends, and she is worried about them. Very good, Xiao Hong has shed her skin again now, and Dabai has also evolved a lot, but they are in seclusion now, and I didn't wake them up when the master asked about other situations. Xiao Bai immediately explained the truth. That's good, you are all brothers here, so you have to take good care of him. She always knew that Xiao Bai was very powerful, even if she had never seen him take action, she didn't understand the situation inside. Everything has to be entrusted to Xiao Bai. Master, don't worry. We all have a contract with you and the master, and we will support each other. Xiao Bai takes this more seriously than his master. That's good, I'm here today to ask you something. Mei Shui directly released the dragon from the space. It has maintained its human body, so it did not cause panic around it when it came out. Xiao Bai's bloodline is much stronger than this fake dragon, and he was not affected when he saw the dragon. On the contrary, the dragon's legs became weak. Master, Master, why are there Xiao Yu silver wolves here, aren't they extinct? Jiao Long could clearly feel Xiao Bai's aura. You are now extinct? Humph, Xiao Bai got angry, your whole family is extinct, it is not extinct. As soon as Xiao Bai gained momentum, Jiao Long ran directly behind Mei Shui. Master, you don't want to hand me over to it, do you? No, she was afraid. Okay, you two, stop making trouble, Xiao Bai, bring her in, the outside is not suitable for her to live. Mei Shui also told Xiao Bai the story of Jiaolong. After hearing this, Xiao Bai's scream was raised. At the side, Hian's head was buzzing and the noise gave him a severe headache. Stop screaming, if you call me again I will lock you up. Hian's couldn't help but yelled. What was noisy in his mind was the little golden man, the same kind of tea tree. Master, I won't quarrel with you, I won't quarrel with you, but you must let my true body go in. This place is more suitable for my growth, don't blame it for not being excited. Even if its life is infinite, it will lose consciousness due to lack of spiritual energy. This is something it does not want. Who knows when it will regain consciousness? Your true identity, this was the first time Hian's heard about this. Yes, my true body is in your consciousness, Master, you can take it out with your mind, the little golden man said excitedly. How come I didn't know you still have your true body? It's still in my mind. Hian's was angry. Didn't I say it? The little golden man was a little confused. Looking at it like this, I'm afraid it might have forgotten it in the first place. Humph, the true body is exposed, let me ask Xiao Bai. The little golden man said that it cannot leave its own divine sea now, and it will not return to its true body until its life comes to an end. At that time, it will also fall into a slumber period, and when it wakes up, it will be necessary to see whether the main body is strong. They all saw the changes in Hian's. Seeing him like this, Mei Shui and the others did not dare to disturb him. It wasn't until he looked at Xiao Bai that Mei Shui asked aloud, what's wrong with you? Are you okay? Looking at his wife's concerned and nervous eyes, Hian smiled back and said, I'm fine, it's just that Xiaojin's noise in my mind hurts. Hian's also talked about Xiaojin's identity. Xiao Bai couldn't help but ask, tea tree? Is it the enlightenment tea tree? Xiao Bai was a little excited. You must know that there are indeed many heavenly materials and earthly treasures in the formation, but there is no enlightenment tea tree. The tea tree has the ability to enlighten the Tao as its name suggests. As long as you practice breathing and breathing under it from time to time, you can realize your own way. The way of heaven is also the way in which the meaning of the world is self-realized. Yes, Xiao Bai, you know, Hian's heard Xiao Bai ask and immediately thought of something. Well, Master, this is a good thing. According to what you said, the enlightenment tea tree still has spirit, so your future cultivation path will be easier. Xiao Bai told them the benefits of the enlightenment tea tree. At this time, both Mei Shui and Hian's were stunned. Unexpectedly, they found such a big treasure in Miao village. It's really a priceless treasure. Xiao Bai, can its body enter the formation to recuperate? This is what Hian's is most concerned about now. Of course, it can come anytime with such a big opportunity presented here, who would refuse? That's good. In that case, just find a good place for its body. After saying that, Hian's took out Xiaojin's body with his consciousness. A small tea tree is somewhat similar to the big tea tree at the beginning, but it is much smaller. Xiao Bai's excited heart and trembling hands did not dare to step forward and touch it. Master, aren't you afraid that I might swallow it out of selfish motives? Xiao Bai swallowed. The master allows it to understand that because there is a contract between them, neither one can betray the other. But the male master is different. Why don't you believe it? You have lived with us for so many years, and I still don't understand what kind of dog you are." After saying that, Hians put Xiao Jin's body in Xiao Bai's hand. "Remember to find a good feng shui location for it to grow well." "Well, I will definitely find the best place to plant it and let it grow vigorously." Xiao Bai was still very excited to gain the trust of the male owner. Xiao Bai Mei Shui looked at Xiao Bai's excitement and immediately knelt down. "You are also our family. Without you, we wouldn't be where we are now." Mei Shui was right about this. Without Xiao Bai, they might have relied on space to grow vegetables and land in the village throughout their lives. The family will not be as happy as it is now. Grandma's health is getting better and better, which is what Mei Shui is most grateful to Xiao Bai for. "Master, why are you talking about this? In fact, it was the same. If it hadn't been for its owner, it might have been waiting to die on Yunwu Mountain." "Okay, we are all one family and don't talk about two families. Xiao Bai, I will hand over Xiaojin's body and Jiaolong to you. When you get inside, you must remember that you are also a real family. Even though the breeds are different, because of her, they are family. Don't worry, Master, I will definitely take good care of them. The formation is truly a world of spiritual creatures." Xiao Bai waved his hand, and a lot of medicinal materials appeared on the ground. "Master, these are for my little master and the others." Xiao cannot practice due to his qualifications, but with these medicinal materials and the prescriptions in your book, Master, I think I will be able to keep Xiao safe and healthy throughout his life. Xiao Bai still likes his three little masters. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 530. Chapter 530, Poisonous Mouth. There are also these. These are for Xiaopeng and the others. These are the last herbs they need to heal their bones. After they get over it, they can start practicing the skills. Xiao Bai looked at the male host. "Master, just ask Wuodao tea tree for it. It has better stocks than me on this point." Xiao Bai is still self-aware. "Okay, I'll accept all of this. I'll thank you on behalf of Xiao and the others. In fact, Xiaopeng and the others miss you very much." Xiaopeng and Xiaocheng asked them countless times about where Xiao Bai was going. She kept telling them that Xiao Bai had returned to the mountains. They were very disappointed about this. "Master, I miss you too." Xiao Bai shed tears, which was very funny. Meixiu laughed rudely. "We will have a chance to meet each other in the future, but you won't be like this." Hians also squatted down and touched Xiao Bai's head. "As long as you are well, we will be happy. Nothing is better than everyone being well." "Well, I will definitely practice hard so that I can transform into my master in the future." Xiao Bai's transformation is many times more difficult than that of a dragon. "Come on, I believe in you," Mei Shui encouraged. Xiao Bai led Jiaolong into the formation, and soon the formation disappeared. No matter what the scene was inside, Mei Shui felt really disappointed outside, and she missed Xiao Bai too. Hians understood her. "It's okay, we'll go find Xiao Bai when we get out of the secular business." They felt this formation, and as long as their cultivation level increased, they might be able to enter it. "Well, let's go home," Mei Shui said after taking a deep breath. "Okay, let's pack some game and go back. It's been a long time since we've eaten fresh game." He knew she was in a bad mood and wanted to take her for a walk. Just after they left, Xiao Bai's figure appeared where it was standing just now. The novices heard their conversation. It misses them too. Both sides are very reluctant to leave each other, but for the sake of each other, they have to separate. Xiao Bai secretly planned in his heart that he must prepare some heavenly and earthly treasures for his master and others to practice. From now on they will never be separated again. Mei Shui and Hians returned to the village with their prey. With the smoke of fireworks, Their parting mood became much lighter. You are so brave, you actually ran into the mountains. Seeing them coming out, some residents of the village gathered around them. Some are from Miao villages, and some are locals. We haven't run far, but there aren't many animals outside. Hians talked with everyone. But no, since we started this tour, the animals in the surrounding mountains and forests have been disturbed. Some old people recalled the past. It's just that, even though I've made money, there's still no fun here like before. Neither Mei Shui nor the subsequent villagers answered these words. There are good and bad aspects of development. Hians was also a generous person. He divided the hairs among the old people so that they could recall their original taste. Then he returned to Ji's house with his things. Here, they will all live in Ji's family, and Ji's father and mother are of course very happy to have them come. Why did you fight so many? Ji's mother, who was busy preparing dinner at home, came out and said with a smile. It's not much. Sister-in-law, I'll help you clean it up later, otherwise it will smell bad tomorrow, Mei Shui said to Ji's mother. The relationship between their two families is getting better and better now, and their words and actions are no longer as polite as they were at the beginning. I really agree with what I said. Don't be polite, just treat this place as your home. The dinner was very sumptuous, and both families sat together. Xiaoyu and Xiaopeng are still children after all. Even if they are engaged, they have not changed much from before. As the old man often said, they have not learned anything. Will you be home tomorrow? Ji's mother only sees her daughter once in a few days and misses her very much. Xiaoyu swallowed the food in her mouth and looked at her mother with a smile on her face. Mom, I will go back tomorrow afternoon. I will stay with you at home. As a child, she also misses her parents. Hearing this, Ji's father and mother both laughed. Haha, that's a good relationship. You all can leave tomorrow and Dad will prepare delicious food for you. I miss my daughter and want to keep my son-in-law at home for 2 days. Because Mei Shui and Hians have to be busy tomorrow, so they have to leave as soon as they finish eating. Of course they have no problem with the children wanting to stay. Xiao Cheng, you can also stay at your Uncle Ji's house. Dad will come to pick you up tomorrow afternoon. Xiao Cheng was left alone, and Hians also helped him make arrangements. Of course Xiao Cheng had no objection to this. Yeah, I know, Dad. Mai Xiu looked at her younger son with an expression that I understood. You can stay, but you can't compete with the villagers. This boy was the most restless. Hearing what his mother said, Xiao Cheng shrank his neck subconsciously. Mom, I will be good. If he didn't compete with the uncles in the village, then why did he stay? Mei Shui has no way to deal with Xiao Cheng's different attitude towards him. More importantly, people in Miao village also like to compete with Xiao Cheng. In their words, they must not forget their roots. If you don't obey me, don't come here next time. Hians knocked Xiao Cheng on the head. This son is good at everything, but he is too martial. Dad, when did I stop being obedient? Xiao Cheng was very dissatisfied. Xiao Cheng was almost feeling aggrieved. He looked at his second brother, begging for help. Dad, don't worry, I will keep an eye on Xiao Cheng. Xiao Peng had to speak, because this was his younger brother. Xiaoyu looked confused. Brother Xiao Peng, you said the same thing last time, but Xiao Cheng still competed with Uncle Jin and was injured by Uncle Jin. Xiaoyu also learns martial arts, but she is not as good as Xiao Cheng. In addition, she did not lay a good foundation when she was young, so the difference is quite big. Xiao Peng's hand under the table touched Xiaoyu hard. Don't talk nonsense, Uncle Jin has been embarrassed for a long time. Last time, Uncle Jin was so anxious that he almost cried because of this. Ji's father and mother also laughed when they heard what the children said. It's okay, as long as it's not hurt too badly. Mei Shui couldn't stand it. It's okay if you hurt him. You can survive if you keep breathing. Only if I hurt someone else will I kill him. The attack was not serious. She has never been unreprovable to her child Mei Shui, and I have mistakenly admit my mistakes. That's right. Mom Xiao Cheng felt as if she was not her biological child. Why is he always the one who gets hurt? The dinner table was full of laughter and laughter, it was so lively. After dinner, Mei Shui and Hians left Bema village. They both have work tomorrow. Back home, Mei Shui's feeling of loss returned. She and Hians returned home, washed up, and then returned to the house. At night, they entered the space and there was no sound of untidying. Xiaoxiu, don't be like this. Seeing Xiaoxiu's disappointed look, Hians felt very distressed. I'm fine. She now dislikes such separation even more. Ans, let's not be separated from the children. I think grandma also wants to stay at home, and she is reluctant to leave the children. Several separations made Mei Shui's mind more sensitive. It's all up to you. Hians didn't care, he put her first in everything. Meixiu smiled, well, then we won't leave them, but we have to ask grandma. If grandma wants to go out to play, we will take her to play. And Chen went on a blind date for a month without missing a single day. This caused him great pain. I wonder if God couldn't bear to see her, and finally sent him a lover he really wanted to love. The thing is this. And Chen really didn't want to go on a blind date that day, and he couldn't go to work in the company. His sister-in-law said that he was not allowed to go to work until he found a match. He has become the laughingstock of his colleagues after dinner in the company. It's not that no one in the company is interested, but if it can be done, and Chen is not the kind of person who likes people when he meets them. In fact, he doesn't know what kind of person he is looking for, so he always has the mentality of completing the task when it comes to blind dates. How can he find the right person like this? This time, Grandma He, Grandma Ji and Grandma Lin spoke, asking him not to go on a blind date seriously, and then they would let him go on a blind date on the street. This threat made him settle down. This time Grandma Lin found him a granddaughter of her former colleague's colleague. Let's not talk about character. After looking at the photo, Grandma Lin felt that the little girl looked pretty good. She agreed to let her go on a blind date with An Cheng. I don't know much about the others, but her colleague is pretty good and worthy of trust. In this way, Grandma Lin made an appointment for An Cheng to go on a blind date alone. An Cheng is very upset now. He has almost gone crazy after staying at home for almost a month. Having blind dates every day, and when he got home, his mother would ask him about the process again, which would drive him crazy. When can he complete the task and go back to work? The blind date became more and more perfunctory. This time Grandma Lin just called him and asked him to go to this place, and didn't say anything else. It was so concise that An Cheng breathed a sigh of relief. No, he arrived at the place of rendezvous with a sense of ease. As soon as I entered, I saw a very fashionable woman sitting at the appointed place. An Cheng frowned when he saw it. It's not that he can't appreciate such a fashionable woman, but shouldn't you at least pay attention to it when you go on a blind date? And the photos Grandma Lin showed him were not dressed like this. An Cheng walked over and sat directly opposite her. After seeing her heavy makeup again, he had no intention of continuing. Maybe it's because the He family has good skin, but the woman was stunned when she saw An Cheng. Hello, I was introduced by Grandma Lin. It was very direct. Maybe even if she recognized the wrong person, she wouldn't feel embarrassed. An Cheng nodded, hello. The woman had a very cheerful personality. What's your name? What do you do? Do you have a house in Kyoto? After seeing his response, she directly asked about the reality. An Cheng was very disgusted. He was unwilling to go on a blind date in the first place, and now that he was being looked at like this, he disliked this woman even more. I, a part-time worker, don't have a house in Kyoto, so my name doesn't matter to you, right? It's not like he has never seen such a woman, but others hide their thoughts very well. As for her, she was too straightforward, and her eyes never stopped looking at her. When the woman heard this, she choked, and her smile gradually disappeared. How do you speak? She has always been very confident in herself. This face is her weapon in the world. No man has ever dared to treat her like this. Of course, she has a lot of love stories, but they are all just for people's looks, and she has never met anyone with a real family background. She is very confident and thinks that men with good conditions will be like those men and can't live without her. How could she feel better now that she was being treated like this? Why are we introduced by the elders in the family? Shouldn't you be more polite? The woman also has a temper. And Chingal said, "You're welcome. You've been sizing me up since I sat down. On a blind date, I admit that I'm sizing each other up, but you don't understand what you're thinking no matter how well you hide it." He was also betrayed by those greedy eyes. Then let me ask you, have you ever had a boyfriend? Did you have your first time? How many men have you slept with? Do you have a job? Do you have a house at home? And Cheng also has a good mouth, but it's just that on weekdays, he rarely quarreled with others. The woman was almost furious. I don't know if An Cheng's words were too funny or just funny. The two people sitting behind An Cheng couldn't help laughing. An Cheng and the woman looked at the back seat where the laughter was coming from. Are you polite enough to eavesdrop on other people's speech? The woman asked with an angry look on her face. An Cheng frowned when he saw her like this. The two little girls sitting behind him looked like they had just graduated from college, but they were dressed very refreshingly. At first glance, you can tell that she is a serious girl, unlike the one in front of you. It is not appropriate to wear heavy makeup and light makeup. What's wrong with us? One of the two women behind him stood up and said, "This is your home. Why are we eavesdropping when you speak so loudly? In this coffee shop, there are many people sitting around, but this is a corner, so there are fewer people. There are only 2 tables for them." However, the quarrel between the two attracted some people's attention. The surrounding people began to whisper. The woman with heavy makeup was very angry. "Why are you laughing if I don't eavesdrop? Is it so funny?" Waves of anger surged in her chest. "Heh, your speech is funny. Are you just eavesdropping when you laugh? If you have the ability, just say what you just said again and see if everyone will laugh." That girl is also a sharp-tongued person. Maybe it's a matter of tutoring at home, and Cheng likes such a straightforward woman. But the little girl has done herself a favor, so she can't be bullied. Why should I say, "Who do you think you are?" I never think of who I am, but who do you think you are? Someone who loves gold and diamonds. You also have money and a house. Hee, you don't even look at your face. I don't know how many people have played with it. This girl has a really vicious mouth. And Cheng couldn't help but laugh. It felt so good to hear these words. Let's see if I don't beat you to death." The woman with heavy makeup stepped forward and started to move her hands. End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 531. Chapter 531, Uncle. The little girl probably knew that she had gone too far, so she was a little embarrassed and was held back by her friend. She just can't control her mouth and always talks about other people's pain, which is why she has so few friends. But her heart is not bad. And Cheng stopped the woman with heavy makeup and said, "That's enough. I don't even want to see where this place is. Also, your appearance doesn't match your tutor. It's best to keep it in check." And Cheng has been a manager for so many years. Not everyone can catch the momentum of the personnel. You actually helped them," the woman with heavy makeup said in shock. "Otherwise, I think this little girl is right. Don't think about your own conditions. Don't think that you can have everything with just one leg. Some things can't be solved with just a face." And Cheng's mouth is a bit soft. No worse than that girl. After An Cheng finished speaking, he glanced at the girl. The two people's eyes met, and they looked at each other and smiled. The little girl admired the old man in front of her very much. He was so happy that the woman who was yelling at him almost went crazy. Huh, what's the big deal? I'm just a part-time worker, so I'm just hanging on. The woman with heavy makeup picked up her bag and walked out. And Cheng, a man with no sense of capacity, spoke at this moment, "Please pay for your own coffee, thank you. Inviting such a person to drink coffee would be better than inviting these two little girls in front of him." At this time, some people around who understood clearly laughed. And Cheng also turned his head and looked at the two little girls who were helping him. "I'm sorry to trouble you today. How about I treat you to coffee?" The cheerful little girl didn't have any objections, but her friend was a little unhappy and said, "Well, forget it, we've almost finished drinking. They just came here to take a rest after being tired from shopping. I never imagined that something like this would happen." "It's okay, you're welcome. The desserts in this store are excellent. Do you want to try them?" And Cheng wanted to get to know these two people. For some reason, he even doubted himself. However, he is used to having his way. At last, the cheerful girl responded generously, "Thank you, uncle." She also pulled her friend to sit at the uncle's table very unceremoniously. "Uncle, don't you mind?" Chien asked, but her actions didn't look like she was asking at all. "I don't mind." He wished he could. The blind date didn't work out, but he made two children. After parting ways, and Cheng wanted to keep in touch with this girl, so he had a few words to talk about if he had nothing to do. The more they chatted, the more they became speculative. It doesn't matter about status or money, it only depends on the acquaintance, and the two gradually get to know each other. No one knows about this, but now he no longer resents An Cheng going on a blind date because he has a helper. He apologizes to those girls who have good attitudes, and will also tell the reason why he came to go on a blind date. Others can send their friend Zhou Shuang to play. The two of them cooperate with each other and have a tacit understanding. That's right, that little girl is, as her name suggests, very cheerful and cheerful. The longer the contact lasted, and Cheng felt his heart begin to beat for her. I don't know how many times they have been on blind dates. It was rare for the two of them to go out for a meal, and An Cheng also understood what he meant. He is 8 years older than Zhou Shuang. If the two of them want to be together, he would find it a little difficult. But he didn't want to give up, so he asked the person out. Shuang, there's something I want to tell you. This time we made an appointment at the coffee shop where we first met. The old location is still the familiar coffee house. What's the matter? By the way, aren't you going on a blind date today? She was having a lot of fun these days. Unexpectedly, the uncle would meet so many strange characters. It was really eye-opening. The battle was no better than when she fought against those housewives in her hometown. Zhou Shuang's background is not very good. Single-parent family, her parents divorced early, and they had their own families. She grew up with her grandmother. Grandma passed away when she was in college, and she also left that sad and memorable place. Since then, she has been studying at university in Kyoto. Now that she has graduated, she does not plan to return to her hometown. Her parents have children of their own, so she is the redundant one. Neither side needs her, but they think she is a burden. So she didn't intend to disturb them. She can have such a temperament now, thanks to her grandmother, who let her know that there are still people in the world who love her more than her parents. She usually has a hard time making friends. She did not expect that she would be chatting with her uncle like this time. The two of them have many similar opinions. Is the same, not similar. In this regard, she also has some affection for him. She has been a person who lacked love since she was a child, so she doesn't think there is anything to mind about her age. Her good friend Xiao often made fun of her and her uncle. She didn't think about it at first. It wasn't until they made appointments every day that Xiao revealed the secret. Shuang is carefree, but she is also a sensitive person. She is very sensitive to people's emotions. After Xiao Xiao mentioned it a few times, she became aware of it. She had not expected that he would come here today. Seeing him like this now, I'm afraid. Although she looked relaxed on her face, she was extremely nervous at the time. My palms are sweaty now, and I dare not look into his eyes. Shuang, what do you think about relationships within 10 years of age difference? And Chen was also nervous, no less nervous than Zhou Shuang. However, he didn't know what Zhou Shuang was thinking, so he asked tactfully. Zhou Shuang smiled after hearing what he said. What's the point? Love has no age distinction. Older age has its benefits, it will hurt people. Zhou Shuang said what was in his heart. Uncle, you wouldn't like a girl 10 years younger than you, would you? Zhou Shuang joked in order to ease the embarrassment. Then why don't you ask someone out yet? I'll help you check it out. When she said the next sentence, her heart ached. And Cheng kept looking at Zhou Shuang's bright eyes, and finally nodded. Yes, I have fallen in love with a girl 8 years younger than me, he admitted. But I don't dare to alarm her. I'm afraid she will reject me. If I reveal my thoughts, I'm afraid she will ignore me and never see me again. He said this to her. Zhou Shuang was so nervous that his back straightened up. Then wait for his next words. Shuang, tell me, if it were you, would you agree? And Cheng clasped his hands tightly. Uncle, are you confessing your love to me? Zhou Shuang teased and Cheng with a smile. She would only call him uncle when she was joking. When talking about business, she would call him brother and Cheng. She was afraid that the person he wanted to confess to was not her. But I thought this was meant for her. And Cheng could see her nervousness because she blushed. Having known her for a short time, he really felt that he knew the girl in front of him. So when he heard her asking him this, and Cheng smiled. It turned out that he was not the only one who was moved. Yes, I confess to you, Shuang, are you willing to accept a man 8 years older than you? Like me. And Cheng was more formal this time. Zhou Shuang was speechless for a moment, opening and closing his mouth, not knowing how to express his emotions at this time. In the end, she shed tears and nodded heavily. She knew that the relationship between them was too fast. Within half a month, he confessed to her. But she didn't want to refuse. Because he is really good. Uncle, I am willing. Zhou Shuang nodded. Sunlight came in from the music window, and was screened by the hollow fine flower screen into a mottled mixture of light yellow and gray-black. It fell on Zhou Shuang's forehead, as if it was a celebration sent by the sun. It was a bright sky, and the golden sunshine was like fine wine, which directly intoxicated the minds of the two of them. After getting a positive answer, and Cheng stood up and walked to Zhou Shuang. Shuang, I swear, I will be very good to you. I also know that the oath is very empty, but now I don't know what to use words to put your mind at ease. He knew something about her. When he frequently asked her out at the beginning, her friend Xiao warned him. He also said some pleasant things, which made him feel sorry for this strong girl. No need, I believe in you, and I believe in my vision even more. Zhou Shuang's excited words sweetened in Cheng's heart. Okay, you and I will sleep together for the rest of our lives. He knew that promises sometimes did not reassure a person who lacked love. However, he is willing to spend the rest of his life to fulfill his vow. Can't give her the best, but he will give her everything he has. Uncle Zhou Shuang felt a little uncomfortable being hugged unexpectedly. At this age, this was the first time she smelled a man's scent. Very strong masculine flavor. Very warm and safe. I am here, and I will always be here from now on. In this way, the two of them established a lifelong relationship on this bright and sunny day. After An Cheng's confession was successful, he didn't plan to go on a blind date anymore, so without saying anything, he directly asked Shuang for his opinion and took her home. Only in this way will he not be forced by his parents to keep going on blind dates. Of course, he will also call his third grandma and sister-in-law to tell them about his happiness. It's just that An Cheng's credibility here has been reduced to zero. No, as soon as she got home, Aunt Lanhua became suspicious when she saw someone. "Little girl, tell me, did he pay you to trick me? You are so good looking, how could you fall in love with him?" Aunt Lanhua was very satisfied with Zhou Shuang. However, she didn't believe in his son's ability. How could he possibly catch up with such a good girl? Third aunt didn't introduce her to her. Hearing his mother's words, Zhou Shuang was extremely embarrassed to death. "I don't even know how to reply." Having no choice but to seek help from An Cheng. "Mom, what are you talking about? She is really your daughter-in-law. If you don't believe me, just look at it." After saying that, An Cheng kissed Zhou Shuang's face. Aunt Lanhua was surprised, but she still didn't believe her son. "What's this? If you have the ability, you can make me a grandson." "No, I can also have a granddaughter. I like granddaughters." Aunt Lanhua pulled Shuang over. He directly wiped the saliva from her face with paper and said, "You are so stupid. You let him kiss you. How will you get married in the future? Do you work in his company? Did he threaten you? The little girl is really pretty, and her eyes are very clear." Zhou Shuang really laughed unkindly this time. She couldn't help it anymore. "Now I know why he took me home at this time. If she didn't come, I'm afraid he would really continue to have a blind date." "Auntie, you misunderstood. I am really brother An Cheng's girlfriend. He didn't lie to you. If you don't believe me, just look at it." After saying this, Zhou Shuang kissed An Cheng on the mouth. After the kiss, her face turned red. Aunt Lanhua was really frightened now. "Girl, are you not blind? I don't know about my son yet, he is not worthy of you." Well, she still doesn't believe it now that she has a girlfriend. "No," she screamed every day, asking him to find a partner. And Cheng was going crazy. "Mom, are you my dear? No, I picked you up. If I hadn't been in poor health, what would have happened to you?" Aunt Lanhua directly pulled Zhou Shuang away from An Cheng and towards her. "Little girl, don't be impulsive. This kid is over 30. How old are you? This kid looks like he is only in his early 20s. Don't be fooled by his appearance. I really don't know who he looks like." Aunt Lanhua believed it in her heart. But she doesn't give her son a good look, huh? Who told him not to bring her back earlier? "Auntie, I'm already 23, and I'm not young anymore." Zhou Shuang felt that her aunt was really kind and not at all like the kind of mother-in-law who appeared on TV. That's quite a difference. "My family is 32 years old in Ankandu." Aunt Lanhua was afraid that her son would deceive the girl. Uncovering the details of his son bit by bit. "Mom, you're only 31, okay." And Cheng quit. He was already so much older than her, but now that his mother had added another year to his age, he wasn't happy. "What's the big deal? You'll be 32 after the Chinese New Year anyway." Aunt Lanhua rolled her eyes. "You're still eating young grass at such an old age. If you were my daughter, I wouldn't be willing to marry you." "Auntie, you are so kind." Zhou Shuang was touched by the comment. "No matter what, my aunt really loves her, even if it is the first time they meet. But Uncle and I have really established a relationship." "Auntie, you don't have to embarrass Uncle." Seeing that his aunt had been disbelieving, Zhou Shuang became anxious. After hearing her name, An Cheng almost cried. "Can you save some face?" But Aunt Lanhua smiled. "Laughing until my stomach hurts. No, that's right, he is the uncle, haha." At this time, Anken's house became lively. In the evening, Zhou Shuang and Aunt Lanhua chatted happily, and even the meal was cooked by An Cheng. Since the men in the family are only used to cook, she still has to discuss her thoughts with her daughter-in-law. Can An Cheng still say no? After dinner, Zhou Shuang originally wanted to leave, but Aunt Lan Hua stayed, since you really plan to get together, and Shuang's family is in such a situation, why not just move in at home? She knew it was a bit bad for her to say this, but she really felt sorry for this girl. Fortunately, I took a look, otherwise it would have been tomorrow again. I'm sorry, everyone. The author is currently away from home and has been posting in a closed manner. We apologize for the inconvenience. Please give me a vote. Please recommend votes, monthly votes, rewards, and subscriptions. Thank you to all my dear friends. End of this chapter.